This playoff season, there's only one place where we'll bet, Fanatic Sportsbook. Yes, they're our presenting sponsor, but it doesn't make sense to bet anywhere else if you're a sports fan. When you bet, you earn fan cash, win or lose, which means that your bets get you closer to accumulating fan cash for authentic jerseys, hats, memorabilia, and more. Winning hits different with fan cash. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents call 800-789-7777. Massachusetts residents call 800-327-5050. New York residents call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Folks, say it with me now. This fucking team. Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show, presented by Fanatic Sportsbook. I am here with my good friend, Benjy Ritholtz. Benjy, say something, Benjy. Say anything.
Jalen Brunson.
That's something. That's something.
What do I say? I don't know what I need you to guide me, John. I need you to take the reins. This is what you do, and I will comment because I am,
all right,
for someone who's supposed to be allegedly on a post-game show, a little bit speechless. So hit it.
So we did this game on playback, and I'm gonna look. I know let me start here. This is a great night, and I understand that this is a night of mixed emotions. I understand that this is a team that elicits many emotions, and some of them are not great. I understand all of that, but I also understand that I have been a Knicks fan for, my entire sports watching life, which amounts to a little bit more than 30 years. And I also understand that for the last 25 of those years, prior to tonight, this thing that happened tonight had happened 3 times in terms of winning a playoff series. And I know that there is a lot of conversation about what this team is and what they are not and why they elicit the emotions that they do. And I am going to respect that. And we will respect that. We will respect it moving on for however long we have left in this season. But I will not, at any point in time, diminish the fact that the Knicks won a playoff series. And I can't imagine I will ever get so old and gray that I will fail to appreciate that simple fact. Now that that is out of the way, when we were on playback watching along, and I am usually pretty cognizant of runs in terms of the specific score of runs. For some reason, I was not cognizant of the fact that in the fourth quarter, the Pistons' run had gotten up to 20-2. At that moment, I said to myself, one, that they're going to lose the game. And when they do, I was going to get on here with you, and I was going to open the show with an apology. And it was going to be a heartfelt apology to everybody that when this year started out, and early signs were a little iffy. There was some good stuff. There was some not good stuff. I was going to apologize to everybody who, when they would bring up last year's team, and I snapped. I bit their head off. Come on. Last year's team is last year's team. Isaiah Hartenstein left. He took the bag. Nobody blames him for that. Once that happened, last year's team was dead. They were tasked with assembling a new team. And I said, we owe this team our faith. We owe this team time. We owe this team our fandom, basically, because there's a lot of good players on this team, including players that we know leave it all out on the line. And I was going to apologize to all the people that I yelled and screamed at for the better part of 2, 3, 4 months, really almost up until the end of the season, because I was going to say, man, one, you're onto something. And two, it is a completely valid feeling to compare it, to have the skepticism and then compare it to last year, because last year's team was so special and did have something about them. And as I looked up and I saw the 20-2 run, I said, I can't not apologize for how I acted at the beginning of this year. And that was what I was going to do then. And then, Benji, then they did what they have seemed to do a lot this year. It's funny. We look at the 51 wins and we brush it off like it's nothing. We brush it off like it's a byproduct of just all kinds of games against the Washington Wizards and the Toronto Raptors and the Utah Jazz, although they actually lost the Jazz, the Charlotte Hornets, the Brooklyn Nets, so on and so forth. It wasn't. It was a byproduct of some of that, but it was also the remnants of a team that does have whatever trace amounts of whatever last year's team had. And maybe it is just Jalen Brunson, and maybe it's as simple as that, and maybe that's why the words that I asked you to say at the top of the show and the words that came to your mind were Jalen Brunson. Maybe those are the only words that need to be said. I don't think they are, and I can't wait to talk about some of the other contributors in this game. But along the way, as I got mad at myself, as I looked up at that 20-2 run for continuing to give my belief in this team, I forgot that, like, there's a reason I still had that faith. And it isn't because I'm some idiot who blindly follows the jersey, the name on the front of the jersey, and that's it. It's because there was something about this team that I couldn't quit. And man, between game 5 and the first 40 whatever minutes of this game, they really tested us. But they came out with a win. And what a freaking win it was. I'm spent. I'm so happy to be done with this Pistons team. I'm not ready to think about Boston, although I guess we're going to have to at least spend a moment to talk about them before I let you go. And I will say this with my full chest. I know it hasn't always been easy, but I'm proud that they won this game. And I think they should be proud of themselves. And if you're a Knicks fan and you've been frustrated for whether it's 2 games, 2 weeks, 2 months, or half of the year, I think tonight you should hold your head up high, because that was one hell of a way to win a basketball game.
The dissonance that I'm feeling in that before the series, said the Knicks would win in 6 games. And here they are, having won the series in 6 games. And if that's the case, and I gave the Pistons that amount of respect to say they'd win 2, why does it feel like they underachieved in the series to me, the Knicks? And maybe I need to reconsider the way I felt about the series. Maybe. I think it's an interesting conversation and discussion to have. Of course, you have the Hardaway foul game, which theoretically this could be going to game 7 just on the basis of that, right? So maybe that has something to do with it as to why I feel the way I feel about it. But ultimately, we talk a lot about process versus results. When it comes to the postseason, and before we start analyzing what's next season, because that's where I think the process conversation goes in. But until that point, how you do in the playoffs is purely results. It doesn't matter how you win the games. It just matters that you win them. And a 20-2 run in which I had a tweet drafted that they were all diarrheaing all over their pants, the Knicks. I've rarely seen an NBA team look that scared. A bunch of veterans who have been in playoff games. And like Karl Anthony Towns missed a free throw by 5 feet to tie the game. That was the worst free throw he has ever taken. I am confident in saying he has never missed a free throw by that much in his career. He barely reached the rim. And they were shook. And yeah, the atmosphere was amazing. I'm sure that's hard to play in, but again, these guys have all gone into the teeth of tough arenas. All of them, every single one of them. Mikal played in the finals. Pat was in Denver last year playing huge games. Like, this is not new.
No.
Obviously, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, they've been playing. It was tough to watch. They were nervous, and you could sense it. And that's crazy to me. And yet, they found something. And it's Brunson, of course. And then, irony of all ironies, it's Mikal Bridges.
I was waiting.
At the rim, getting his hands dirty on an offensive rebound. The least Mikal Bridges-like basket you could imagine. How many? I wish I had this information in front of me. How many putbacks does he have this season?
Oh, goodness. I could pull up his stats on cleaning the glass. It might give us at least a.
So they have. I mean, they have offensive rebounding they have offensive rebounding percentage. I want to know how many putbacks he has.
Yeah,
because I can't remember very many. And for him to make that play at that moment, like that he found something, and they all collectively found something. They made a lot of stops. And look. The conversation that dominated certainly the national media was like, who's the best player in the series? And I have a lot of respect for Cade Cunningham.
It's gonna be really good.
But man, who do you want to have the ball down the stretch? Which guy?
That's
come on.
Not a conversation anymore. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna look a little silly for some of those takes.
I don't know what Jalen Brunson has to do to get the respect for like how he is a top 5 playoff scorer in the world right now.
Oh yeah.
And everyone seems to want to talk about other things about him. And I get it, whatever. Flop, like he creates things out of nothing. He goes isolation on Thompson, gets stolen, and then although he did get the help of a little Bridges brush screen and then went the other way, they rejected it, and then with a just filthy crossover on one of the best defensive, this guy will be one of the best defensive players in the league for 10 years at least.
He's going to make a handful of all defense teams at a minimum.
And he should have his head held up high for the job he did in the series. He came a long way. He learned a lot over the course of the series. I'm sure it couldn't have had a more valuable experience. Osar Thompson. But like for Brunson to almost take his shoes off to win the basketball game and then to make that shot. And by the way, he missed a couple of good threes in the last 2 minutes. Open ones. But when he put that up, did you have any doubt in your mind that it was going in? No. Then that's Jalen Brunson for you.
Hearing you talk, and we're doing a lot of like, you're the best X's and O's guy in the business. You and DJ, and we'll get to some of that, but I don't even know how you talk X's and O's about a game where like which X's and O's am I going to ask you the X's and O's about the team that played the first quarter, or the team that played the second quarter, or the team that played the third quarter, or the team that played the fourth quarter until the final 2.5 minutes? Which you want to have 4 set? You guys actually should run 4 separate X's and O's sessions after this game, because that's what it requires. I want to go back to something you said, that collectively they did play scared. Collectively they were shook. Collectively they lost all of their poise. And yet, if you go through their roster, do we think Jalen Brunson gets shook? No. Do we think Josh Hart gets shook? He's had his moments, but I would say what
he did just like throw the ball to the other team on a key possession. Like
He
that's
did do
stuff that's stuff that happens when you are feeling it though. Like that's what's to me. I don't mean to cut you off, but like
no.
it's not to say that that means they're weak-minded players. And like we've seen Josh Hart make a million clutch plays. It's not, I'm not, there's something about this situation, the way that atmosphere was, the way the Pistons have played them, the pressure that's now on this team that hasn't been on this team in the past, that in that moment it got to them. Like 22 run.
So
that,
but so again, normally Josh Hart, good under pressure. Normally, Mikal Bridges, I know he hasn't made a lot of friends in New York this year, but the guy, as you mentioned, part of a finals team, part of successful playoff teams, obviously part of the Villanova team.
That's like, right. Yep.
He has been there. He has done it. I don't think he is susceptible to pressure. OG Anunoby, I mean, I think he's been pretty solid and held up pretty well on the whole since he's gotten here. And then you got Cat, and Cat's track record is a little bit iffier. But earlier in the series has made some plays. Mm-hmm. He has made big plays throughout his career at times. So if you want to say Cat doesn't qualify for this conversation, fine. But the other four guys do, and some really do. Here's the point that I'm trying to make. As we have struggled to figure out this team this year and asking ourselves, why, how, what? All of the questions, any questions that one could ask, we have asked about this basketball team. As we have done all of that, I think it has to come down to the fact that as a group, this has just been a struggle for them. And I think you saw that play out in the clearest of fashions in this series, where, again, we saw moments of individual brilliance. We saw moments of team brilliance. And then we saw moments where it looked like five players who had never played together before, including during that fourth quarter. And I think when you're trying to analyze this team, I think the only place that I've arrived at and the only way that I can like get through whatever lies ahead in Boston is that this year was just a year of growth. Not to say there won't maybe be changes, I want to be very clear about that. But this is a year of growth. And you know what the thing about growth, Benji, is? It doesn't always look the way you want it. And oftentimes it is extraordinarily unpleasant. And we said it at the beginning of the year when I was yelling and screaming to all those people who were like, saying this team doesn't have it, yada, yada, yada. And I said, give it time, give it time, give it time. Maybe we just need to take this whole season and not throw it out, but like chalk it up to like, this is what this year was always going to be. And maybe we should just look at this result, Knicks in 6, which I predicted as well, and just be happy like, hey, they got it done. Like one way or another, they got it done. I don't know.
I love it. And that's a perfectly reasonable way to look at the series. And maybe one that, expectation can be the thief of joy. Expectations can, like any other bias, they can actually distort your understanding of the game. And
sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but that's the one thing I didn't say before. It's the coming together under the weight of the expectations that they had placed on them the second they made the Bridges trade, and then more so when they made the Towns trade.
Right. That's right. And they won the series in 6. I do think there was a change in the series in Game 3, and I think that change sustained through the rest of the series. The Knicks became the better team.
Yes,
and they would consistently build leads, and it was an amazing thing. I know I mentioned on the playback when I came on briefly before leaving because I came on and they lost the lead within like 18 seconds.
So it is your fault.
It is my fault.
Very clear.
I got back in my living room, sat on my floor, and watched this whole thing happen. So throughout these last 4 games, it feels like they can get the lead to 8, 10, 11,
Yep.
And they just could not get it to 15-18. They couldn't. And why couldn't they? Because that's where like they're just not a 48-minute team yet. Like they have lapses and they do stupid things and they don't stick with what's working. They revert to bad habits individually and collectively. And it's an interesting question as to whether that is who they are or is it a step on the way of what they're becoming. And that's an interesting conversation to have and one that we can have and will have.
Well, I hope the front office has a good answer when the time comes. And maybe, and to be clear, they just won the series. Maybe we'll get that answer against Boston, the defending champs, who are awesome.
That's a test.
And I said it the moment they made the Drew Holiday trade. This is the perfect basketball team. You cannot, if you're going to build a basketball team in the modern league, maybe give or take a little bit more switchability from Kristaps Porzingis, like you would build the Boston Celtics. That's it. You would just build the Boston Celtics. And they're not, I was going to say, we know the Boston Celtics aren't going to get rattled. They're not immune to the occasional moments where they get stuck in the mud and do things that held them back from maybe winning a championship before last year. I want to go back to this game, but I'm just going to ask you flat out, are you excited for the Celtics series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to get there. I wanted to get there. I did not want to preview Game 7 of the series because it is an amazing thing. At some point, there is nothing left to say. There are adjustments to the adjustments to the adjustments to the adjustments, and at some point, it's just like, all right, now who's going to make more shots and like not fart all over themselves? And
what would we have said after
tonight? I don't know.
Had they lost, what was there to say?
Nothing. I don't know.
Well,
I'm glad it didn't happen. But yeah, so it's like I'm excited for the series. It is great for this franchise, not only just to go to the second round as you began with, like that doesn't happen, hasn't happened for this team a lot. Not to be taken for granted. Playoff basketball is a beautiful thing. It's amazing to watch. It's fun to be invested in. But for this organization to gather information, what better way than to go up against the champs and see what you can do? They built this team in large part to compete with the Celtics. And here you are. Now, I think, probably anticipated this meeting happening in the conference finals, and the Cavs screwed things up by being an elite basketball team in the regular season out of nowhere. But, okay, what difference does it make? You're getting the matchup you wanted. You're going to learn what you wanted to learn. You're going to see what it looks like. You're going to hopefully put up a fight in the series. You're going to learn things about yourselves. You're going to learn things about what the roster needs. All of it's really exciting. And you're hoping the team grows together through that experience in a positive way. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to watch that series. I'm glad I get a few days off, but I'm super excited to watch that series.
I'm excited too. I think they have, again, maybe a controversial statement. I think they've earned our excitement. I think they earned our excitement in part because of what they did in the last game versus Boston. Now, Boston obviously was not really necessarily playing for a whole lot during that game. Did that impact how they played? Jaylen Brown was essentially Jaylen Brown might as well not even played in that game. And he is playing and he has done pretty well in the playoffs. So we'll see. Here's the thing, Benji, about the whole Boston thing. If you take the moments from this series, starting really in Game 3, and you called it, in the moment you called it. Starting in Game 3, when the Knicks have played well, if you give me that team versus Boston, I'm extremely excited to see what they could do. Now, if you give me the team that gave up the 20-2 run and the team that, as you mentioned earlier, had diarrhea all over itself at certain points in time throughout, it's perfect. It's the only word. It's the only word. We both have kids. We're gonna make it a verb, an adjective, an adverb. He diarrheally vomited on himself. Yes, he did. No, it's deserved. All of the jabs are deserved because of how they have looked at times in this series. And if that team shows up against Boston, well, then that's not going to be very fun. So can you find consistency? And you know what? And for as much as I do not think the Pistons are a great team, they are not, which is part of what made the series so frustrating. I wonder how much of the fact that the Pistons, they're number one on their whiteboard, I think, muck it up. I think it was number one in bold letters with a big underline and highlighter and the whole thing. I think their whole thing was muck it up, make it physical, take them out of their comfort zone, make them make mistakes, make them give into their baser instincts. And I don't think the Celtics are going to approach the series like that because they don't need to. They're the better team. Do you think that there is any validity to that theory that I have?
I think it's no, not really.
Okay, talk to me. Because that looked to me like
I don't
game 1 to game 6 that was going to push every boundary.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if the Celtics are going to pressure full court the way that the Pistons consistently did. Like, they don't have their guys are almost too good for that. Like, who's the guy? Like, I know they show it sometimes. I mean, White will do it, Holiday will do it, but those guys don't want to do that, and they probably don't have to.
I'm talking about when Tim Hardaway Jr. tackles the screener, that stuff.
Yeah,
and just daring the refs to call it. They were doing that stuff.
But that's
the
thing. It's Tim Hardaway Jr. Like man,
you're making my point for me though, because that's my whole point. They had that was their only chance. That's my point. That's exactly my point.
To me, it was less of the physicality. That I think it had an impact. I think it might be a little overrated, and it was more the concepts. And the concepts, like the strategic concepts, were introduced by Boston in game 1 of this season.
Yes.
And like the challenge is going to be the same because they're going to do the same things, but they're going to do it 12 times better than the Pistons do. And what I mean by that is Porzingis is never going to guard Towns.
Nope.
It's going to be Tatum on Towns. And look, I don't know if we want to get into the nitty-gritty, but like, what can Towns do with Tatum? We'll get into all that. But
I do want to get into Towns tonight, but continue.
It's going to be Tatum on Towns, and it's going to be Kristaps on Hart, and you're going to have to navigate that. But the other defenders on the floor, you're not going to run the Bridges screen to get Dennis Schroeder onto Brunson because there's no one to attack. Yeah. There's Derek White and there's Jrue Holiday. And again, Brunson's had some success against those guys. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying you're taking the challenge that the Pistons presented and you were upping the skill level on both ends of the ball by a lot. And then on the other end,
weak spots on either side of the floor.
On the other end, it's going to be attacking Brunson in the pick and roll. Now, Cade in some ways is like really equipped to do that. And maybe there's not a guy in Boston who's but we've seen them crush Brunson with this coverage. It's going to be Tatum and it's going to be Derek White. And like, what are you going to switch with Brunson? And I think they're going to have to concede some more switches in that series. Like, it's not going to be hedge and recover the whole series like it was here because they shoot too well. Like, you can live with Tim Hardaway chucking 13 threes in a game because he's only going to make 4 of them. Yeah. But can you live with Derek White doing that? So it's just and then obviously the Towns question of coverage. Okay, so we got how he's going to show on the ball every time. Okay, but now it's Kristaps Porzingis in the pocket who could just make the mid-range jump shot. Forget about Jalen Duren passing to Oscar Thompson. It's Kristaps Porzingis catching the ball in the middle with better shooters all around him. So it's just the same challenges, like just amplified by a gazillion. And what a great challenge for the Knicks to have to face, though. And it's exciting to see how they fare.
Yes, I completely agree with all of that. I think, again, I did not mean to apply for a second that this Pistons.
No, I know you did.
Yeah,
I know you did.
But I think, to your point about how the Knicks deteriorated in the fourth quarter tonight, I just think this Pistons team got in their heads. The way they played, the way they went about their business, I think it got in their heads, and I think it had them kind of shook up the entire series. Now, which is not to say that Boston is not in their heads in a different way. But I wonder how much that last game impacted that. Before I've kept you for too long as it is, I want to talk about two guys. Brunson, is gonna get a lot of love on the post game, and we don't. What is there to say about Jalen Brunson?
Can I say one thing about Brunson before we?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
The baseline layup.
It was ridiculous.
His balance and strength is unparalleled.
Insane.
Like there's no one else in the league that can make that move. That was one of the craziest plays. I just don't understand how he did it, and the footwork in general in this game. A couple of times up faking and then finding a cutter, like just classic vintage. He's not that old, but unlike Clyde, but classic, legendary performance by Jalen Brunson. Like the balance and the intelligence and the shot making, of course, was just exquisite. It was a pleasure and an honor to watch that man play tonight.
And it 40 points is 40 points, so the 15 points in the first quarter won't get lost in the sauce. But and also because like it didn't seem like a leads meant anything in this series. It's just like give the Knicks 15-point lead. Okay, doesn't matter. But for him to go out there in this game in that environment and stake them to the lead that he did, even though they gave it all back in the second quarter, I think was important. Okay, two guys we got to talk about. Well, actually, no. Let's hit on everybody, but we're going to do it briefly. Start with Cat. He was essentially a non-factor in the game.
Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about his defense. We'll talk about his defense over the next several days. His defense was not good. He was a non-factor offensively. What did you make of it? That's all I'm going to ask. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought in the second quarter they really ignored him, and I blame Brunson a little bit and maybe the coach a little bit for play calling. Like I thought that he had a very good, solid first quarter. And then I just thought they really he became an afterthought in the offense. And I think that's hard for a guy who likes to have the ball. And then he lost his edge. He lost his focus. There was a play that kind of, to me, like he got I can't remember who switched onto him. It was a small, and he,
yes.
And Bridges, I think it was, it happened so I don't remember exactly, but someone tried to lob him the basketball after the mismatch. He just never fought for position, and it got stolen, and like it looked like a bad pass, but I'm like, Cat, you just got. It might have been Schroeder. I don't remember who the switch was, but it was someone really small.
Tried to throw it to him, and it was a guard on him.
And it was like, well, maybe Cat, try to spin and seal and get a dunk out of this. Like, what are you doing? And then obviously the pick and pop, where Brunson finally throws the pass. We've been begging him to throw. And Cat, look, OG probably shouldn't have cut, but OG, Cat, you have to shoot the ball. Your whole purpose is to shoot that ball. So shoot it. It's why you exist. It is your essence. It is your soul. Shoot the ball. Yeah, so
look,
I thought a combination of those two things.
The next round is important for a lot of reasons organizationally. Julius Randle's coming off the best playoff series of his career. Not that it's had a lot of competition, but that Minnesota team looks like a decent bet to make the conference finals as of right now. If Julius keeps playing the way he's playing, and by the way he's playing, they're not asking him to do too much. They're just asking him to be solid. Go do what you do and be solid. The Knicks, because of how they're built, require more from Towns. So I don't think it's an apples to apples comparison. That said, given that this was the way that Towns ended this series, and I think by and large, you'd have to look at this first round series and give Towns is it a B-? Is that too generous? Am I being too generous?
That sounds right. I can average out my grades and let you know. But yeah, B- sounds about right.
Yeah,
but like bipolar, like some great stuff, and then some totally two absent games. This one and game 2 were absent.
Yeah, and the bad, and it's not, but it's worse than absent because it's defense.
Yes.
So look, we've been saying it for 10 years. It's a big moment for Karl-Anthony Towns coming up against Boston. Let's just leave it at that. Mikal Bridges, welcome to New York, I guess. Look, it's been a tough season for him individually. It's been a tough season for people who were in on that trade. I think it's been a tough acclimation. if you told me that this was the series and maybe even that this was the game that in which like Mikal Bridges really became a Knick, and I don't want to say bought in because that implies something unseemly, but like just something happened, something clicked, something whatever. If you told me that and that's what we get out of the season, I could probably talk myself into like, okay, then maybe it was all worth it. He was awesome tonight, and he was really good in this series. He was just really good in the whole freaking series, and I don't like what more if like. Can I say that this is the guy they traded for? This is the guy they thought they were trading for? It pretty close, right?
Yeah, I mean that tip-in is worth what, like 2 first-round picks?
I mean, it was the biggest. Brunson's shot was the shot of the series, but that was the second.
So if the tip-in's worth 2 first-round picks and him actually dunking on Cade instead of getting blocked at the rim is worth another first-round pick, so we got 2 to go. Let's see how he does in Boston. Maybe we just justify it all in one shot here.
There you go.
Yeah. I think his whole energy has been different. And I'm like a big press conference guy. I watch every press conference that's available. I think most of it, you get like 87% nonsense and 13% you can actually learn some stuff about what players are actually thinking, and you get a nugget here and there that you can use. And you also get vibes. And Mikal's whole energy has changed in the playoffs. On the court, off the court, he is more engaged. He's more animated. His emotion at the end of this game was awesome. He cursed at Mike Breen in his interview. That was awesome. Yep. Just a different guy. And the physicality he showed all series was a revelation that we were waiting for. And the dunk tonight, I know it seems silly, but man, like I'm waiting for some aggression at the rim. That's all we've been asking for, is give me some aggression at the rim and give me some physical defense. And he played both of those things. I wish he shot the ball a little bit better.
Yeah.
But from 3, I mean, because he made all his 2s tonight, but from 3, I wish he shot the ball a little bit better. And that remains a little bit of a struggle, especially above the break. We've talked about it a million times. But
he made his last one. When was
so I was about to talk about that play. And that was after he tipped out an offensive rebound on that same possession. He tips out an offensive rebound.
That's right.
He fades out to the right corner, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of trouble with Brunson and whoever else was in the action. And he circles around, and this is what I've always talked about with him, and his most valuable trait on this offense. He's the grease. His movement opens everything up, and he circles around the arc because he knows that Brunson's getting himself in trouble, circles around Brunson, a little handoff, and the left wing 3 from Bridges. It was a huge shot at the time.
It was the end of I highlighted it. It was the end of the third quarter, and it came. Yes, it was just a big possession. It was just a big possession in the game. It felt huge in the moment.
That's the stuff that no one else on the team provides, by the way, is the off-ball movement. He's really intuitive and smart and willing to cut into all the open space. Huge play for the Knicks. And yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy we've been waiting for. So welcome to the Knicks, Mikal Bridges.
Briefly, let's go hard first, and then we'll probably we'll finish with maybe the unsung hero of the series. Josh Hart, I thought he had a brutal first half in this game. I thought he played a lot better in the second half. I thought he made some Josh Hart plays.
Couple of huge offensive rebounds.
Quick
succession. One to keep a play alive, and then one finish at the rim. A dunk.
Finished with a double-double, 13 and 10, 2 offensive rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 3 turnovers. Don't love that. But it was a solid Josh Hart game. I will, again, we're going to talk a lot more about Boston. I'm happy your Patreon or your Tibbs comments on Patreon got some traction on the internet today because it was well deserved. Deuce McBride is borderline unplayable at the moment.
Yeah.
Are you encouraged generally by what you saw from Josh Hart in this series, with the understanding that like it doesn't matter what he does to some extent against a really good defense that is really locked in? You're just going to be, you're just going to be starting at a deficit, and there's literally nothing he could do other than, I guess, start taking and making a million threes. And he took 1 3 tonight. Was the only one? It was 1 for, yeah. He made
it.
I think he's shooting like 50-something% for 3 in the postseason. Yeah.
Talk about X's and O's and like great analysis. He made shots in this series from 3.
Yes.
And you think that like even if it's low volume, God, that matters. And there was actually a play in the first half where he pump faked Durham from the corner, drove, and it led to a bucket. Why does that happen? It's because he's made shots. If he hasn't made shots, no one's biting on his pump fake. And so like you get some gains there by just shooting them and making your share. That matters. That's really great analysis, but making shots matters. For him, it really matters.
No,
he made a bunch.
And like, again, I'm not saying the Knicks are going to go into this series like the Pistons went into this past series with like the idea of like, hey, is this house money? You know, because like there's expectations, a lot of expectations on this team. But how wild would it be if in game 1 against Boston, Josh Hart goes out there and attempts like 9 threes? It makes 4. Like, I'm not ruling anything. Yeah.
And they will be more aggressive in how the extent to which they ignore him than even Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
I think Hart's actually said he's in a recent interview. He said some teams like they'll play 5 feet off, but they're paying attention to me. Boston just turns their back on me. That's what he said, and he laughed. But it's true.
Boston is insanely good. Anything else on Hart, or I want to finish with OG?
I had something in my mind, and now I can't. No, it's all right. No, nothing else on Hart. Go ahead,
OG. Unsung hero of the series. I think his defense was solid throughout. I think he was tired. I'm maybe putting it lightly, maybe tired here and there, but like in terms of like if you look at this series and you're like, okay, what could the Knicks really depend on from the first opening tip of game 1 to the final moment of game 6? There's not a long list of things that the Knicks could depend on for that entire time. I think OG's defense was about as high, and tonight it was quiet. I didn't think that OG Anunoby was capable of having a quiet 22 points. That dude went out there and scored 22 points on 6 of 14 shooting. He got to the line 7 times, made 6, and he was 4 of 10 from 3. I know that percentage doesn't, I mean, it's 40%, but like 4 of 10 doesn't sound crazy.
It's fantastic.
Man, this team needs, and when they needed those threes, and again, some big ones in the moment, they felt huge. I think this was a really nice series for OG Anunoby.
100%. Shoot more. Yeah, 10 threes is great, man. Like, get him up. Yeah, he was relentless defensively. Like
never gave in.
He just screen after illegal screen after screen after illegal screen after hug and he wouldn't go away. Now, sure helped the kid couldn't make a 3 because he could go under and get away with it at times. But throughout the whole series, the guy was just relentless defensively and almost has this ability to the way that Jalen Brunson can like dig up a bucket if he needs it. OG can cause a turnover when you need it. Like that is a rare trait. You don't have as much control defensively as you have offensively. It's one thing to be able to find a shot. It's another like, and unfortunately they didn't score on the turnover that he forced late in the game. I'm trying to remember the play, but you know what I'm talking about? He gets a deflection, Hart ends up with the ball. They didn't score on the other end. They missed
it was a dunk attempt by Hart, wasn't it? Was that the dunk attempt by Hart, or was it something
else?
It
might have been. It might have been. Yeah.
Look it up.
They're all running into each other, but like he came out of a timeout. They were down, whatever they were down, 6-7. I don't remember exactly. And he's like, we need a turnover here, so let's get one. That is that's different. He's different and a different animal defensively.
Over under, do you think the bench averaged more or less than 12 points per game in this series?
Less.
Barely. I just did the math in my head and I forgot. It's like 11.7. Oh no, sorry. Sorry, to go back for a second. After the OG steal, it was Brunson missed a wide open 3.
Wide open 3. Yeah. It was one of those two things. Yeah. I want to give credit though. Campaign big righty layup out of nowhere in the beginning of the fourth quarter. They needed that.
I wrote down that's why that's what was so frustrating about the Detroit run is the Knicks, the backups kind of came in and did their job. Like when Jalen Brunson came in, I think it was the lead 7 at that point. I'll look it up right now. But like, Campaign had a bad. Actually, no, sorry. He made one and then he missed one, which is it's fine, right? The turnover, and then it was the Bridges turnover. But as you pointed out, that was Cat not getting into position, and then there was a really bad Cat shot. It's a rough Cat game. I think we could leave it at that.
Yeah. And look, Deuce, I don't know what you say. Like he kind of crossed the Rubicon into like, oh, you have to get him out of the game, which I haven't said that about Deuce in ever, maybe. But like he became unplayable for a minute there. The turnover late where he got a pass underneath, dribbled out, tried to cross over, lost the ball, got consistently beat by Schroeder to the rim. And he made a 3 tonight, so that's good. But look, I have faith in the player. I still believe in him, and I think he's going to. If they have any chance against Boston, he's going to have to make some shots and like do some good work. And so it was just a very disappointing performance, and kind of surprising in the sense that one thing I never thought Deuce lacked was confidence, and he looked like a guy without confidence in the second half tonight.
It was as rough a half from him as we've seen. By the way, when Brunson came back in, the lead was actually still 11. So Campaign more than did his job.
They did it before Friday at sundown.
Yes,
you got to see that before. You did not have to emerge. You did not have to emerge into some bullshit for Game 7.
Wait, what was Game 7 scheduled for?
Saturday night.
So you might have missed.
I would have missed the beginning.
Yeah.
Who needs that? I don't need that hanging over me. I'm shutting my phone off and I'm not talking to any of you, and I'm gonna go to sleep and talk to other people.
Benji,
I'm excited about it.
What is it? What is it called again? I blanked out. Sabbath.
Yes.
Sabbath is Shabbat, right?
For one night only. I would have invoked the Sabbath too. Me and Benji, Benji's crib. They've been like,
MJ, anytime, man.
I'm not using
Come on over.
Technology. I'm reading the newspaper. I might turn butter in the back. I don't know what. I'm not exerting anything to watch that Game 7.
So
it would have been good content. Just shut off our phones. Nobody would have known who we were.
So I think we might let Benji go, but before we do, shout out to our good friends at Fanatics. You guys see the wardrobe change behind me, by the way. The brand new Jalen Brunson jersey that is now hanging over my right shoulder.
Oh, this is so weird.
What?
I don't see any.
Answer your phone then, Benji.
Can I show off my my fan cash shirt from Fanatics?
Yes, please do.
Oh yeah,
everyone
just show off the swag you got. Yeah,
this is the one that I picked. It has all the symbols throughout history of the franchise right here.
That's beautiful, John. That actually is beautiful.
That is a gorgeous shirt that you were given by Fanatics.
They gotta make a poster.
No, I use my fan cash on this, baby.
Yeah, your fan cash.
With our fan cash. Yes. I used fan cash on this. Shout out to my winnings over at Fanatic Sportsbook, which we will now get into for betting and sweating. Jeff, do you have any quick thoughts before? Oh, you want to stay on? Let's go over your bets.
Stay on for betting and sweating. Let's see how much money I lost.
Any thoughts before you get out of here?
No, I've talked too much. All right. Hey, see you guys. Game 1, Boston, eh?
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to
Boston.
May all your pin down screens free you up for the shots that you can take.
Amen.
Amen
in
to
Jesus'
that.
name. In Jalen Brunson's name. Okay. Sorry.
No comment. Bye.
Both you and my dad got very mad at that.
Wrong profit.
Both Benji and my dad are going to be very mad that I said that. Okay.
Oh, that is
Jonathan
awesome.
Macri. We're going to do a little betting and sweating, if that's okay, with Jeff J, because he joined me for today for betting and sweating once I get the thing ready. Shout out to the fine folks at Fanatic Sportsbook.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
start here with the actual betting and sweating picks for today. Mensa, Knicks money line. You called it, my friend. Jonathan Macri, Knicks, Jalen Brunson, 35 plus points. You called it, my friend. And then Sean with a W, Pistons team total 106.5.
It should have been.
It should have been without some fourth quarter unserious, unfortunately. Jeff, that was a tough one. Okay, that was a bit of a tough one.
Yeah.
So let's go through our lines for tonight. What we did on betting and sweating. Game total under. As John's throwing. Oh, I love that jersey, John.
Yeah, that's the fire one for sure.
That's my man, John Schmilk.
The city version, the city edition of the Brunson jersey last year is by far the better one, in my opinion. So I had Knicks, the game total under 12.5, miss. Tobias Harris, what did he finish with? Shout out to Roslyn, New York. Tobias Harris, 14. Oh, he missed. Actually, good. Glad he missed. Jalen Brunson and Cat. So Cat took 1 3, so this missed. Never mind. Mr. Robinson very much missed. Either team to win by 1 to 5 points. That was my best bet for tonight. And it is. Thank you, Jalen Brunson.
So you should have bet it every game. If you had bet 1 to 5 every game this series, it's funny. I think it hit all but 1.
No, it missed game 1 and 2. But to your point,
game 1 and 2.
It missed game 2 by 1 point.
That's right. That's the one that I betted, and then it's hit, and then it hit all 4 since.
Bingo. Okay, so Jeff, you won first quarter Knicks spread. Jalen Duren had 6 rebounds, so that misses. Mikal 2 threes. Campaign over 2.5 points. Campaign finishes with 2 points. Unfortunately, Deuce McBride, brother. Boston plays Monday.
Deuce works for Fanatics because this is the second time he's done this to me. Deuce is with Fanatics, bro. This is the second time he's done that to me. But I get it. Shake it off. It's a new series.
And then unfortunately, Jalen Brunson finishes with exactly 7 assists today. So we combined for 1. So you should have faded us if you're watching Betting and Sweating earlier. But there's one other thing that we all have to look at. The 3 of us specifically have to look at. So this was our reaction in the moment. John's off screen because he leaped. Do you not see what's on screen right now?
I see it.
Yeah. So this is us. And then shout out to Mark. He pulled this too. Let's watch what happened.
Asar Macri. You see how you went off.
Oh, Brunson, please. Captain Clutch! Captain Clutch!
Send them the fuck home. Sean, what time is it?
4.3.
Sean, what time is it?
Package the nickel package.
There you go. Okay. So, Jeff, how are we feeling?
I hate them. Like this is a toxic relationship right now because I hate them, but I love them too. I don't know what it is.
You hate the Knicks? I thought you hate the Pistons.
Oh yeah, no. I don't hate the Pistons. I'm actually glad that they started talking because it was investment in the series. Right. Once all the BS started happening, I felt connected because I didn't have any hate for them. Then I was like, okay, now it felt more like professional hate. There was no real bad blood. But I'm talking about the Knicks. Yeah. Bro, we should not have even been in that position. But we were. And for the bettors in the room, it was kind of good that they got in that position because we hit our bets.
You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome, everybody.
You know, we said it in the game, like it was maddening, but. And I'm not sure if you spoke about this, John. They gave you a chance in every game in this series to come back. They left the door. They never locked the door. The back door has been open. A key off the lock. You don't even need a passcode. Every single game. And it was a matter of whether or not the Knicks wanted to take it. And they finally took it. They finally really took it in this game. And I'm glad because I was not trying to watch them on Saturday. I'm not going to hold you. I did not have it in me. I didn't have it in me. That might have been a hostile environment for them in MSG.
It would have. I was on a radio show earlier today, and we're talking about the series generally, and I'm like, usually Game 7 MSG, you would think, okay, young team coming in, road team, and I was like, man, this Knicks team has a funky relationship with this fan base at this point. And if they lost tonight. And then if they lost in the way that they lost tonight, giving up the 20-2 lead or giving up 22 run or giving up 15-point lead, 12-point fourth quarter lead, the whole thing. I like the first moment there would have been a moment on Saturday where like stuff started going bad. I like people are human, man. Fans are human. So I don't know. What I will say about this group. And Malik Beasley said earlier today, I think it was, or yesterday, whatever it was, where he basically, I tweeted it today. So he said the quiet part out loud. He said the Knicks weren't tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a question going into tonight. Are the Knicks tough enough to win this series? I think, did they win this series because they were the most poised team? At times. Did they win it because they were the more talented team? Yeah, that factored in. But I think at the end of the day, I do think they were the tougher team. And I don't think that there's enough evidence to suggest that they weren't, given how the Detroit Pistons tried to make this series and ultimately were unsuccessful in making this series. So I'll give them credit for that.
Shout out to Detroit. You made it a fun first round. Hopefully it was the thing we went through. And shout out to our friends at Fanatic Sportsbook. This was our betting and sweating segment. One last line to go over, courtesy of our friends at Fanatic Sportsbook. So this is the early line for Knicks versus Celtics. If you want to pick the Knicks to win the series, it is plus 570.
At this point,
the Celtics are minus 850, according to our friends at Fanatic Sportsbook.
That's fair. That's the crazy thing.
Honestly fair.
It's fair. It's this
but
is
if
let
you're
me just ask
froggy,
you,
go
honestly,
ahead.
Let me ask you honestly, if the Knicks were plus 350, no one would think about betting them.
Right. You got to.
If the Knicks were plus 425, you'd look at it. You'd look at it, right? You'd look at it. Plus 425.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And they'd be like, man, I don't know. The number has to start with a 5. Now, is it 510? Is it 550? Is it 570? We could get into that, but
yeah, I mean,
it is what it is, guys.
20 gets you what? 114?
Yeah, I mean, the minus 8, the minus 850, that's
wild.
But
I get it. But I get it. That's why I said it's disrespectful. But when you see the regular season and now, especially what happened, maybe it would have been 4 if they beat the Pistons in 5. Maybe you get the respect 4-1. If they would have blew them out in Game 5, maybe
if they blow them out in Game 5, it's different.
A little bit. Maybe.
So, let me just say this, and then Jeff and I will get out of here.
Yes.
A lot's been said. A lot's been felt towards this team. We were feeling it in the fourth quarter, saying the words like, I'm so over this, right?
Oh, I said it.
Right.
Yeah.
Let them go up 1-0 in this series. And then suddenly,
oh my God,
all of it, like put your fan cash into a bonus bet right here on Knicks plus 570. And then you might even want to hedge, or cash out as far as I'm concerned, but let them go up 1-0 and see the vibes completely reversed. So we should just give. Nothing would shock me.
Nothing would shock me at this point. It's like this is what's so chaotic about the year that was supposed to be the most certainty. This is straight chaos. This is straight chaos theory right now with this team because they mirrored the Pistons. They mirrored them in this game. They had a good third quarter and folded in the fourth. Yeah, I don't know what the energy is around them, but it's like it's a young kid playing 2K with this team in another reality that's just trying to get badges and trying to do the hardest thing as possible to get to accrue badges and earn badges. That's how I feel at this point. This is a straight Black Mirror simulation with this team. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is literally at this point, anything can happen. Jrue Holiday is hurt. Jaylen Brown's knee is looking shaky. We got a wrist from Tatum. We have the existence of Kristaps Porzingis. Al Horford, he's a Tio, one step away from being an abuelo. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There is. I
got that reference.
There you go. We need to translate that.
There is a chance. There is a chance, and that's all we wanted. Just don't embarrass us, and let's let the chips fall where they may.
There you go. Shout out to our friends at Fanatic Sportsbook. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts residents, 800-327-5050. New York residents, 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Okay, Jeff, thank you, sir. You're doing Casual Friday with Kazim with Real Life Cast tomorrow at noon. Yeah, so join the Knicks Film School YouTube channel at noon tomorrow. Last words.
NBA.com, NBA YouTube. I'm on the top 10 tonight. I'm on the highlights.
Have fun.
Hell yeah. I wonder what they'll be. I wonder what they'll be.
Let's fucking
Make us
go.
proud.
Macri,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
going to tap in after I do these highlights, man. Do your thing. Love y'all. And I guess go Knicks. At this point, I guess go Knicks. Yeah.
I guess go Knicks.
I guess go Knicks.
Team
Go
of the
Knicks,
season. I guess go Knicks. Thank you,
Later,
John.
y'all.
And then I'm just going to join you for this very first segment, John. We'll get through the first super chat because Fanatics has sent us in the next super chat. The first super chat. Hold on. This is the wrong one. So I'm going to actually read you what they sent in the super chat to be because that was the wrong one. So what they actually wanted us to know, John, is that we already know the deal. We already know the rules. $100 in fan cash. What are you using it on? As far as questions go, who is the most important role player against the Celtics?
What's Pacom Daddy up to? The most important role player against the Celtics. I mean, I would have said Deuce. Maybe even before tonight. Mitchell Robinson has never quite figured out how to stay on the floor against those guys. And I wonder if a series that does not have Mitchell Robinson's name written all over it, I wonder if it could be a little bit of a Mitchell Robinson series. I wonder, and I hope, because Towns, look, you know, we know there's going to be challenges there. So that's what I wonder. Yeah, there we go.
I'm going to say Deuce McBride. Rough, very rough Detroit series. All I'm going to say, Deuce, the theme for the night, you better go capture this moment and hope it doesn't pass you. You better lose yourself in this Celtics series. You need the old Deuce McBride back, sir. Okay?
Remind everybody your middle name is not Clarence, please.
That's right. That's right. Okay, everybody, you got your wish. You hope you saw it live because I have to cut it for YouTube's sake. And Jonathan Macri.
Please don't cut that. Please cut it like out of existence.
No. Like I have to cut it out of the wait. So what are you saying? Cut it out from the world ever, or it'll go on the monologue tomorrow, basically. What? What'd I do?
Nothing. All right, get out of here.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Knicks in 6.
Man.
Oh, by the way, one last thing. Fuck Boston.
There you go. Shout out to Mark, who's on the 1s and 2s for tonight. Shout out. I think we got a good deal of people watching. Say two things before we get to the super chats. Number one, honored to be here. Honored to be here. When I was, first starting doing this, going on, video after games. This was it was like a month or two after Kristaps Porzingis fell awkwardly in a game against the Bucks. Franchise was in a state of uncertainty, and I mean, it was just all up in the air. And I remember doing these things, just like imagining what it would be like to do them if this team ever got good. And I understand that this has been a frustrating year, and I understand that I have allowed those frustrations to get to me at times and make it feel like I maybe don't want to be doing this or something. No. I'm the luckiest guy in the world that I get to sit here and I get to talk to Knicks fans now for hopefully hours on end about a series win in a series that, for reasons good and bad, I don't think any of us will ever forget. And I just want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to do that. Number one. Number two, on this team, I've never experienced a season like this. I've never rooted for a team like this. I wonder if there weren't, and I'll be curious, maybe some people who have clearer recollections of the 90s, because I was a young teenager. If people who have clearer recollections of the 90s can maybe compare the season to any of those years. I mean, I don't think so, because of the nature of this past offseason. And now, the 90s Knicks never had an offseason like that. The closest thing they came to it was the 1996 offseason when they got Allen Houston and Chris Childs. And that team went out, won 57 games, and they got screwed out of a conference finals appearance by David Stern. So that's not a comp. This has been a really unique year. It's obviously not over yet. It's wild that this team has played 88 games. And we're sitting here with those 88 games in the rearview mirror, and the how we will wind up feeling about this season can fluctuate still so wildly based on what happens over the next few weeks. But what I want to say before we get to the super chats is that it has been a tricky season to try to talk about, and for me personally to process, and a tricky season for me to try to interact with other fans about, because I didn't even know what I thought about this team half the time, and I think people were just feeling a lot of ways about this team. All that being said, I'm just really happy that we could have a night as a fan base to sit down and just exhale for tonight at least, and appreciate this win, and appreciate what was a very stressful series in every respect. And I hope that I hope we could all enjoy it tonight. That's all I guess I want to say, because we deserve it. I think the Knicks deserve it. I don't think this has been an easy year for anybody on this roster. I think it's been a really challenging year, and I don't know that stuff is really going to come out about that, or maybe not anytime soon, but I think it's just been a challenging year. Just really happy they got it done tonight. That's all. Okay. We got a lot of super chats, so we're going to get through them. And I will be here for as long as it takes, because that is what I love to do. First up, I don't know, is this from after the game, Mark, or is this from during the game? I should probably read the super chat. JD, good job with that stupid-ass chant, Detroit. Ha ha. Oh, that was the flopper chant? This is the only one from during the game. Good contribution, JD. Okay. And now we get started with after the game. Okay, here we go. Giddy up. Robert Cross. How did Robert get the first one in? He's an old man. He shouldn't be moving that fast anymore. First time, long time. It's your boy, John. The Knicks have Brunson and the Celtics don't. Hashtag Knicks in 6. Let me tell you something, Robert. If the Knicks win this series, I don't care how many games they win it in. I don't care if they win it in 6 games, 7 games, 9 games, 12 games. If the Knicks win this series, Jalen Brunson, I mean, he might be there already, so I don't know if this is really saying much. But if the Knicks win this series against this Boston team, after the year they've had, Jalen Brunson goes on the Mount Rushmore of all-time Knicks. It's Patrick, it's Patrick, it's Willis, and it's Clyde, obviously. I have the Busher currently on there. I think Brunson will overtake the Busher at some point. If they beat this Celtics team, I don't even, honestly, regardless of what happens for the rest of the playoffs, I think he's there. That's how much of a superhuman effort it would take for him to contribute to beating this Boston team. Okay. Thanks, Robert. Deadwards, 604. Beasley coughing it up to end the game is so poetic. I was so happy to see that. Because he's really annoyed me. This Detroit team has annoyed me. Their coach has annoyed me. Some of the people that report on this team have annoyed me. I found some of the stuff, frankly, that came from some of their players, Beasley in particular, to be very odd. Again, I get that was part of their game plan. They're part of all of it was towards getting in New York's head. And you know what? With 3 minutes left in this game tonight, we were sitting there being like, shit, man, I guess all of that worked, right? I guess it all worked because we're heading back to Madison Square Garden for Game 7. Well, you know what, Mikal, or Malik, excuse me, you can fuck off. Thanks, Edwards. Alex, what's going on, Alex? I wonder where he's going. So glad to see the ball go off the mentally tough Beasley. F that guy. F Schroeder. F Cade. Hacker. F JB Bickerstaff. And F Detroit. Yeah, this is the energy that I need tonight, Alex. I leave it to you, someone who is just one of the more sophisticated and intelligent followers we have, to give this super chat. I love it. It is perfect in every way. Again, Malik Beasley could go fuck all the way off. Thanks, Alex. TJ2K. My point guard is better than your point guard. Build the statue. I mean, we could check in on the series stats right now. Won't take me that long. Jalen Brunson for the series averaged 31.5 points per game, shot 43.6% from the field, made a third of his threes, got to the line 9 times per game, made 81.5% of those attempts. He dished 8.2 assists per game and 2.7 turnovers per game. Remember that number, and he was a plus 3.2 in the series. Mr. Cunningham for the series, 25 points per game on 42.6% from the field, 17.9% from deep, 83.3% from the line on 7 attempts per game. Did get 8.3 rebounds a night. Brunson only got 4. That counts. And here it is, 5.3 turnovers per game. That is the number 1 mark in the league. I'll say that again. That is the number 1 mark in the league for the postseason. And then a plus for him, 1.5 points per game in his minutes. And that is your point guard comparison. Thank you, TJ2K. Sam Garcia, what's going on, Sam? When called upon, Captain Clutch delivers. I mean, we're going to have to start thinking about where we rank that shot, right? All time for him. Is it as big a shot as a Knick? Might be. Right? At this point, probably has to be. What do you put ahead of it? It's a serious clinching shot. Doesn't get much bigger stakes than that. Thanks, Sam. Alex with another one. Cade 0 for 8 from 3, 5 for 28 for the series. I don't listen. I haven't been able to give myself many pats on the back this season or this postseason. I will say this: before the series started, when I was doing my analysis, I looked at it and I looked at his season and I looked at how the Knicks guarded him, and I said, I understand. He hit 50% of his pull-up threes. I went back and watched every three-pointer he hit. It was really 7 for 15, but one of those was a kind of a heave. So it was 7 for 14. He hit half of them. Extraordinary pull-up three-point shooting performance from the young man during the regular season. He was a 33% pull-up three-point shooter in the overall. And if you take away the Knicks games, he was probably closer to 31 point some percent. I said, you have to let him shoot pull-ups. If he wants to shoot pull-up threes, you have to let him shoot pull-up threes. You have to. Because if you start guarding him to make those threes, you're not going to be able to sustain. They never really guarded him to make those threes. Not to say he did not have some success against them. But, again, we are talking about a guy who is coming off this series, averaged 25 points per game on 21.5 field goal attempts per game, as opposed to 1.5 on 24.8 field goal attempts per game. I'm not saying it was a great Brunson series. It wasn't a great Brunson series. But there is no conversation about which one of those two is the better player in this series. It was Jalen Brunson at this point. There was no conversation. After tonight, there's no conversation. Thanks, Alex. Jason M. What's going on, Jason? You were not too happy at halftime. Once again, I'm just going to enjoy the win and not talk about X's and O's. Bridges' defensive impact has been a huge improvement from the regular season. Yeah, look, but again, I don't like. There was some really great X's and O's in this game. They had some brilliant stretches of offense. Truly, they had some brilliant stretches of offense. The Knicks scored in this game 37 points in the first quarter and the third quarter. Like, their third quarter in particular was one of the most impressive quarters they played all season. And I think their X's and O's had a lot to do with it. And then they farted all over themselves, you know? And that's who this team has been. We'll see if they can start to clean it up. Thanks, Jason. Drew P, what's going on, Drew? Greatest Knick this century. LCA deserved that. I'm so happy that that fan base and that city did not get to observe a playoff win in person. It just makes me, I'm so delighted. I'm truly delighted. I wanted to give them nothing. I have zero sympathy for them. Just really, I thought I hated Philly fans last year. Detroit, you're right up there. You're right up there. Greatest Knick this century. I mean, it's a two-person conversation, right? It's a two-person conversation. That's it. Thanks, Drew. Hutch, what's going on, Hush? Grave digger, 6 feet under, in the dirt. Jalen Brunson. What a player he is. He's on our team. He's on our. There it is. That guy. Number 11 plays for the Knicks. The guy that hit that shot in Detroit's face and scored 3 massive field goals as they came back to win that game. Plays for the Knicks. Holy shit. Never going to get over that reality. Thanks, Hush. All right, we got our first super chat that made me choke on my water. Bill Peter friend. Bill, I hope nobody minds me blowing up your spot here, but I don't know when Bill started emailing me over at the Knicks Film School Gmail account, but we've been corresponding on emails, and I always, it feels like the whole season, if not longer. And I always appreciate Bill because I wish I had more time in general to interact with all of the amazing people who make Knicks Film School what it is. I don't, unfortunately. And Bill always his emails are always very short. It's always just a couple of thoughts, and we always have these great little back and forths. And I just so want to say thank you for that, and thank you for the generosity here, Bill. The team is inconsistent, unlikable, unwatchable, with heart and the ability to score quickly, and yet the same ability to blow huge leads as quickly. Amazing, exhilarating, and a weird game. Thanks for being there for us all, KFS. I mean, you summed it up pretty much. I mean, they are unwatchable at times. Tonight, when the fourth quarter was happening, I didn't want to watch anymore. You know? I didn't want to watch anymore. It's not that I gave up on them. As it was happening, I'm like, yeah, they could still win this game. But I got to the point where I'm like, man, how much do I care? That I'm just being honest. Are they unlikable? The thing about I've had players that I've not been fans of in the past, and I don't particularly enjoy watching them play as individuals. I enjoy watching everybody on this team play. I mean, Jalen Brunson speaks for himself. I love watching Josh Hart go out and do Josh Hart things. I love watching OG Anunoby go out and do OG Anunoby things. I know people think I hate Mikal Bridges. Like, when Mikal Bridges is he's in the game, he's an awesome player to watch because he is that glue guy that every team wants and needs. And he was a pleasure to watch tonight. And then Karl-Anthony Towns, who is, has moments. He has moments like tonight, and they're not great. But how many nights this season did you watch this guy go about his business and just be like, oh my God, that like the basketball gods created this player that could do all these things? I loved all those nights and I appreciated all those nights. And yet, to your point, Bill, as a team as a whole, like they have been a group that has been tough to get behind because of how they've gone about their business collectively. You know, so it all factors in. It all factors in. And it's why this is like a night that just feels like weird in a lot of ways, but I'm happy. And I know you're happy too, because you're a great fan. So that's really all that matters, right? Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Twin Orange. What's going on, Twin? I admit it. I walked my dog with 3 minutes left in the fourth. I mean, shit, Twin. Who could blame you? I couldn't watch anymore. It was a fast walk. Happy I made it back with 2 minutes remaining. I mean, did I text a particular group thread after game 5 and say, man, there's a part of me that wishes I could be watching Sinners on Thursday night? Maybe. Maybe. Because that's the taste that game 5 left in my mouth. Really did. And came tonight. I was super excited. I was all the way back in after the first quarter. Kind of sort of out after the second quarter. All the way back in after the third quarter. And then by that fourth quarter, man, I walked my dog a few times today, so he didn't need to go on another walk, or she didn't have to go on another walk. If she had. Yeah, you know when the moment was, I think, when you left? It was when, so Lasar Thompson made one of 2 free throws with 4:03 to go to make it 110-105. At that point, the Pistons did not score for a minute and a half. They had committed a turnover, and they missed a shot, and they committed a turnover. The Knicks had a dunk attempt by Josh Hart that missed. They had a wide open three-point, a really good shot by Jalen Brunson that missed. And then they had the OG Anunoby steal, and Brunson looked like he could get a shot close to the rim, and he instead pulled it out for a three, and that missed. And then Hardaway made a tough mid-ranger over, I think, Cat, and it was good defense. And at that moment, they were down 7 with 2:35 to go, and I was like, well, that's it. And then from that moment on, at that moment, it was 112-105, and the Knicks scored 11 of the next 12 points. And here we are. Okay. Thanks, Twin Orange. John Leary. I thought it was a nice touch that the player that talked the most shit fumbled the ball with the game on the line. This was also very similar to Philly in Game 6. Well, Joel Embiid's a loser. I don't think Malik Beasley is a loser. I think Malik Beasley is a really good player. I think he has a little bit too much for a guy that was like not I don't want to say he was almost out of the league, but like his career was like in the balance before he really discovered this 3-point shot. By the way, shout out to friend of the pod, Mark Campbell. Go subscribe to Low Man Help on Substack. Does fantastic work and fantastic analysis. And had him on earlier in the series, and I look forward to having him on again to talk more about this team. He helped get Beasley's jump shot right. He was a shooting coach for a year, and it worked wonders and helped resuscitate his career. He's still like not the most complete NBA player outside of his shooting. Like he's not a good defender, and he doesn't really do that much else on offense. So a little bit too mouthy for my liking for Mr. Beasley. Thanks, John. Hayden Freed, what's going on, Hayden? Thank you for the generous contribution. Naming my kid Jalen. Love you guys. Hashtag KFS for life. Thank you so much. Thank you for the generosity. I am. I don't know if everybody heard. I had a vasectomy last year. Not sure if I've ever said that on the pod. So yeah, I'm done having kids. But if I was to have another child and that child was a boy, you better believe it. It would be Jalen all the way. So good job by you. Debo, what's going on, Debo? Real clutch players do real clutch things. We move on. Goodbye, Detroit. Let's please go at the Celtics and find that heart and grit to compete. You know, it's going to take heart. It's going to take grit. It's also going to take them. It's also going to take an immense amount of concentration and a lot more concentration than they showed in the series. This Detroit team was a tough opponent in some ways. Like I said in the monologue, I think they did some things that flustered the Knicks. Celtics team's a different animal. So, yeah. Thanks, Debo. Deadwood 604. The crossover was filthy. Asar was headed for the tunnel before the game even ended. Oh, man. Yeah, he was. That's a tough break for him. He's good. He's good. He's going to be a good player in the league for a long time. I think he's got enough offense. I think he's got enough instincts on offense where, I mean, he's going to need to shoot it probably at some point, but you're going to be able to do some things with him that are interesting. Thanks, Edwards. Luyan, what's going on, Luyan? Thank you for the generous contribution. Appreciate that. What a series handed to Detroit. This will be a great rivalry for years to come. Mr. Clutch was the difference. Just incredible. Yeah, I mean, Detroit's going to get better. They have all their picks to work with after draft night this year when their pick converts or goes to Minnesota. They got a great core. Can Cade Cunningham be the best player on a title-winning team? I think he needs to shoot it. But you move forward with him as your guy. Absolutely. Like maybe it takes them finding they're like Evan Mobley or something. I don't know. They don't have the team right now, despite what they did in the series. Duran's growth is interesting, although notably he is. Actually, I forget. Is he extension eligible or he's a restricted free agent this summer? I think he's extension eligible. Yeah, he's extension eligible. So that'll be an interesting conversation. He's going to want a lot of money. Are you going to give him a lot of money? I don't know. But no, I think Detroit will be back. I think they're really good. They'll be better, but the Knicks should be better next year too. So yeah. Thanks, Liam. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? Thompson cooked. Brunson with the audacity to pull up from three with an open lane, shutting the crowd up. Beasley fumbling. It had everything. It was a perfect end to the game. Listen, Anthony, after they made us sit through the first 47 minutes and however many seconds, they owed us the last 5.1 seconds of this game. Let's say that. Thank you, Mark, also for putting that up. That was a great shot. Fantastic. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? There's no words to describe Captain, man. He is who he is. One cold MFer. Seriously, we're blessed. I will cherish every second. Jalen Marquis Brunson. We are. Look, it was a lot of years. A lot of years in the wilderness. I understand, and I had a whole a Patreon pod. Shout out to our patrons with Benji, in which we really kind of digested this season after Game 5, and it was pretty negative, and it was pretty not like conclusory that like this whole thing has been like a waste of time. Not we didn't. No, I actually ended the segment by talking very like just saying like I don't know, are they going to keep this roster or not? There's moves that they could make. Like the notion that like, oh, if this roster doesn't work, that they're stuck. It's not. Like they're in a good spot. Putting all of that stuff aside, putting the salary cap and the roster building and the how well these players fit together and the coach, we haven't mentioned the coach. Putting all that stuff aside, the Knicks have Jalen Brunson on their roster. And he's under 30 years old, and he's not going anywhere, and he's going to be here, and he is a good enough player that regardless of anything else going on in your organization, he by himself gives you, as a fan, a reason to be invested and a reason to believe that, hey, stuff like we could win, like let a few things go our way, you know? And that's what's so cool about him and about this team. Thanks, Hush. Dan Hidalgo. You used to make effing cars. I don't know where that fucking came from. You used to make effing cars. You don't make cars no more. You don't. They don't. I don't know where the car's coming from. I'm ridiculous. Thanks, Dad. Jessica was going on. Oh my God. Delirious. Jalen Brunson, born to play basketball. Let's go, Knicks. And he got the double bang. That's the other part. Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Next up, Dennis DiSabato. Hold on one sec. I'm messaging Mark. Okay. Dennis DiSabato. Shimmy for me, Malik. You freaking loser. I wonder if Thompson's ankles are okay. JB is him. That better, John? Yes. That's very good. Well done, Dennis. We appreciate that. Well done, Dennis. Very good. Hayden Freed with another one. That shot being for the 40 piece is wowza. Maybe that's why he went for it, actually. I didn't even think about that. Maybe that's why he went for the 3 instead of going down the lane and maybe taking a different shot. Listen. So was it in the last minute? Yeah, it was in the last minute. So with just more than a minute to go, when Brunson held the ball and he tried to go one-on-one over Asar Thompson, and it did, I'm never gonna get this right. When he tried to over Asar Thompson, couldn't remember the other one's name now. When he tried to go one-on-one over Asar Thompson and it didn't go anywhere, he didn't bring anyone into the action, and it ended up being a shot clock violation, and lost the ball and didn't get a shot off. You know, we were watching on the playback, and everybody obviously was very, very critical, as it should have been. It was a poor possession. And yet, as I'm watching it, I'm like, and this is where like the emotions of fandom come in for me, because I know intellectually I should be really mad at that possession. It was a bad possession. It was a bad job by Jalen Brunson. Didn't get a shot off. Didn't bring anyone into the action. Bad job. And yet I can't muster being like genuinely upset that he did that, or genuinely mad that he did that, because it's Jalen Brunson and he has garnered so much faith and trust within me and within everybody in the fan base. And I think sometimes, and I've certainly been accused of this with Tibbs, with Brunson and Hart to a lesser extent. I think sometimes the perception exists that like when you take that stance, it's like you're not. It's like, oh, you know, you if you're going to be critical of this player, then you got to be equally critical of that player or this situation, any of that stuff. It's not as much that. It's about that certain players, I think, earn the right to have their process trusted even when that process is objectively poor. And Brunson has gone to the place now for me where, like, clearly his process was not always good in this series. Game 2 was really bad. But like, whatever that dude's going through, I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt that somewhere between point A and point B, he's going to figure it out. And that's a great place to be. I love being in that place as a fan, but that's me. Thanks, Hayden. Mecky, what's going on, Mecky? How you doing, man? The Knicks wanted to make sure Detroit made infamous NBA history by losing Game 5 to clinch the longest home losing streak. I did not even know. Is that a fact? That's great if that's a fact. Then it made it that much tougher on them with that miraculous comeback. Cold, calculated, and brutal. Yeah, man. Think about this series. Road team won 5 of the 6 games. The only home win of the entire series was Game 1. Right? Like, I wonder how many times in NBA history that's happened. Where after Game 1, the road team won every other game in the series. Probably hasn't happened many times. Can't imagine. Happy Detroit got to see another loss. Thanks, Mecky, and thanks for the contributions all season long. You don't know. Have fun shimmying in Cancun, Beasley. I love it. I love it. Let's get this tweet here from Knicks PR. Hold on. Jalen Brunson scored 40 points tonight against Detroit. This marks his 7th career 40-plus point playoff game as a Knick, which is tied with Bernard King for the most in franchise history. Bernard King. Bernard King. One of the greatest scorers in the history of the league. Egregious that he was not named one of the 75 greatest players of all time. Bernard King. Next up. Chris Carter, spaghetti. Dave Chappelle. I'm not doing it, Dave Chappelle voice. Oh, man. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, man. Ignacio Lobregat. Brunson should have given each of the Pistons a jersey of his with all of that grabbing they were doing on him the entire series. Yeah, it was look, the refereeing in the series was not good. I thought the refereeing tonight was good. It was the first game I think we could say the refereeing was good. I thought in particular how the Detroit Pistons were screening and holding on screens. I think that to me was the most egregious. Like, there are some snapshots and some clips from this series where, again, this is, Jeff made the point after Game 4. They're, it's like, is this the Lions or is this the Pistons? Is this the NFL or is this the NBA? Like, it was ridiculous. And that's kind of what I meant when I asked Benji earlier about, like, do you think there was a little bit of a part of the Knicks that, like, they just, like, it was so egregious and they just, like, it kind of was like, it unnerved them, because it's like, how are you not calling this stuff? So yeah, good tip by you, Ignacio. I would get behind that. Thank you very much. Dan Hidalgo, someone clipped the fans waving bye to Cat when he fouled out. How'd that one age? See you, losers. Yeah. Cat. Not his best. Not his best, but it was okay. Here's a question. So, hold on. Towns fouled out with 49.1 seconds remaining. Before he fouled out, he made a really, really, really exceptional play on defense or two exceptional plays on defense. Excuse me. Two exceptional plays on defense. So he made the exceptional play on the Cade Cunningham driving layup, which was right after Brunson cut the lead to 2. Really good defense by Cat. Pistons got the offensive rebound because, of course, they did. And then Towns stole the ball. Great awareness by him, and then made 1 of 2 from the line. But then he got the offensive rebound, and then the Knicks got another chance, and then it was the very poor possession with Brunson. And then Cat fouled, and he fouled out of the game. Look, it was not a great Cat game. It was a poor Cat game. He made some plays. I'll just say that. He made some plays. Give him that. Thanks, Dan. Wondering Tumnus. Sure. Tibbs better spend the next 4 days kissing Brunson's feet. Alas, Nova Knicks showed why they won 2 titles, winners to the core, Buck Foston. Yeah, I mean, look, Tibbs, we haven't mentioned his name much. I think you know, what do they say? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I don't know if anybody was expecting me to get on here and say, Tom Thibodeau, you hated him. Well, look who's moving on for the 3rd year. No. Tom Thibodeau did not cover himself in glory in this series. Was he outcoached? I don't know that I would say he was outcoached. But, you know, the notion that they won this series somehow, you know, because of Tibbs or anything like that. Like, listen, let me say this. When the Knicks played well in this series, I think it evinced good coaching. Like, again, 37 points tonight in the first quarter, 37 points in the third quarter. I think they made some really nice adjustments on offense. I didn't really talk about it with Benjy, but using Cat as the hub at the top of the key as a passer and for him to hit cutters. You know, I don't know how many, I should probably know this offhand, how many assists the Cat had in this game. Cat only had 2 assists, but I thought in general his passing from the top of the key was like really effective. You know, they got some fouls drawn on that stuff too. Like, I thought the Knicks made some nice adjustments. I thought their offense looked really good at times tonight, mostly in the first and third quarters. Defensively, I thought they defended pretty well in the half court. It was their transition defense that was atrocious. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and say Tibbs coached a bad series or they won this series despite Tibbs, which seems to be kind of what you're implying. I don't think that, but like, I mean, I hope he's got something better in store for Boston. That's all I'll say. Thanks, Wondering Tumnus. Appreciate you. Hush Zoo with another one. Game 6 Brunson is a real thing, by the way. Yeah. Well, it wasn't great in Game 6 against Pacers, but amazing in Game 6 against Philly. Amazing in Game 6 versus Boston, versus Miami. And now amazing in Game 6 versus the Pistons. Did he score 40 in all 3 of those games? Did he score 40 against Miami in Game 6? I think he did. Thanks, Hush. Jason Kirsch. What's going on, Jason? Brunson saved New York once again. He's pretty good at that. He likes it. It comes easy to him. Thanks, Jason. Dom the dentist, what's going on? Me, a grown man, screaming in my living room minutes after writing the obituary of my favorite team. I am become death. Man. F Boston, hashtag Knicks at 6. I am become death. I'm laughing because I saw Thunderbolts earlier tonight. I said this on the YouTube for anybody probably maybe wasn't watching. or on the watch along, I should say. You know, my wife works late tonight, so I'm with the kids until about 9:15, and I was like, I picked them up around 4:00 from school, and I said, you know, we could go home, and I could sit and think about this game and worry about this game and the whole thing for the next 3 hours and 3.5 hours, whatever it was, and stress myself out and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I went to take the kids to see Thunderbolts at 5. And you know what? We had a delightful time. And I am thinking of that because I Am Become Death, you know, Florence Pugh in that wonderful scene in Oppenheimer. She was fantastic in Thunderbolts. Let me tell you. I mean, I love Miss Flo. So I'm an easy target, but man, she was good. Fun movie. Strongly recommend. As for you, grown man screaming in your living room minutes after writing your obituary or their obituary, all I will say is tell me about it. Thanks, Tom. Mateo, what's going on, Mateo? Why is every game a heart attack? I wish I could control myself and stop watching. You know, someone quoted me writing the newsletter after Game 5 of last year against Philly when they lost in that heartbreaking fashion. Basically writing that, like, we as fans, we make a contract with our teams that we stick with them through thick and thin, but there are some times that our faith gets tested. This team has tested our faith. This team has made us at times, or has made me at times, be like, is this really worth the emotional investment? Which, like, you know, I could sit here and be like, oh, I could just take the emotion out of it and still do what I do. No, I wouldn't be able to do that even if I tried. It's been a tough year at times. But tonight's a good night. Thanks, Mateo. Stop the panic. Fuck Detroit. I wanted this so bad. So if anybody, again, was watching along on playback or was watching the watch along on YouTube, I was apoplectic starting really roughly midway through the fourth quarter. Maybe when it got to like 6 minutes, whatever it was. And then I think maybe when Detroit took a 4-point lead, I was like, I just was stone faced because at that point I was like, fuck this team. I'm so over this team. I'm just done. I'm done with them. And man, is Denver really making this a game? And then so Brunson gets the N1. Brunson makes the crazy shot under the basket. Cat makes a free throw. Bridges, and then I think I didn't allow myself to get back to the place where I like was invested again until Bridges got the offensive rebound and got the putback. When Bridges got the putback, I allowed myself to believe again, or at least care again. And then really nice defensive stop by Mitchell Robinson on Cade. And then at that point, it hit me. I'm like, holy shit. Worst case scenario, they're going to overtime. And then I got excited, and then Brunson hit the shot. So there we go. Thanks. Stop the panic. Jay Berg, Captain Clutch, saved Tibbs' job for a few more weeks. Yeah, you know, it might. Listen, I've said it a few times over the past few weeks. I don't think Tibbs is going to be back next year. I guess something I've kind of wondered was like, you know, given that there's going to be so many changes in the offseason, I do think there's going to be changes in the offseason. What was the bet? Like, should we even care about whether they got out of this first round or not? I think it was important for this group. You know, even if they do get a new head coach, I think them being able to pull this series out, I think that's #meaningful. And they will be able to look back on this and be like, man, that was a tough series. We got out of it. We figured it out. We got our way out of it. And then we'll see what happens against Boston. look, Tibbs' job is on the line. I don't think there's any the notion that Tibbs saved his job for like next season tonight. That's poppycock. Yeah. Thanks, Jay. Dennis with another one. Seriously, though, more questions than answers. For 3 quarters, I thought we were playing with our food for the whole series, and now I'm still lost. This team hasn't told us anything about who they are. They're like, come on. This team is a riddle wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in an enigma, tied up in a giant question mark. That's what they are. That's who they are. That's their personality. That's their DNA. Are we going to learn something about them, more about them against Boston? We'll see. We'll see. Thanks, Dennis. Robert Cross. Of course, he's going to bring up this fucking idea. Party bus through T-Squared Social. Hashtag Nixon 6. Robert, if they beat Boston, should I say this out loud? If they beat Boston, I will contribute to the party bus. If they beat Boston in the series, I will contribute to the party bus. I'm not saying what that contribution will be. It will be more than a nominal contribution. I'll say that. Thank you, Robert. Exhibition continues. Oh, I haven't heard from Exhibition continues in a while. I feel like he was around a lot. I hope everything's okay, man. Crowns are heavy, and it takes a big head to wear one here. Salute to the captain and salute KFS. Thanks, man. And salute to you. Yeah, you know, he's the prince that was promised. He is the prince that was promised. Special player, special person, special leader, special player. Thanks. Exhibition continues. Mecky with another one. Thank you so much, Mecky. Really. Shades of Game 6 versus Philly, except this time we were down 7 with 3 to go. What a comeback. Absolutely insane. Mikal was huge. Brunson's got big balls to take that shot. A win for the books. Game 6 versus Philly was... I mean, that was such an emotional night. It was very different from tonight. Tonight was like, Game 6 against Philly and really the whole series against Philly. I never got frustrated with them. End of Game 5 was extremely annoying, and like you couldn't believe that actually happened, and it was like, oh my God, how are they going to recover from that? But you never got annoyed with the Knicks for like a lack of execution or a lack of poise or a lack of effort or a lack of taking shit seriously. In this series, every freaking game, maybe with the exception of Game 3, and even then it got closer than it should have gotten at the end, but pretty much every freaking game this team made you want to pull your hair out in this series, including tonight several times. So maybe shades of Game 6 versus Philly, but yeah. Now it's Bridges deserves all the love. All the love. I mean, Brunson's he was the guy tonight. Bridges right there next to him. And a win for the Bucks. Look at the 4 wins in this series. Game 1, 21-0 run. Game 3 came out, corrected all the wrongs from Game 2. All of your players scored a bunch of points. Cat looked great. Amazing. Game 4, the comeback. And the Cat shots at the end. And then tonight, like, for a series that like frustrated the hell out of Knicks fans, and it frustrated the hell out of me for sure, series gave us a lot of moments. Really did. Gave us a lot of moments. Thanks, Mecky. Sam Garcia's dad, what's up, Ray? We all wanted that win so bad, and him, capital H, him, made it happen. Thank goodness. Oh my God, how I didn't want Game 7. How I wanted this weekend off. Thank you, Ray. Hush Zoo with another one. Thanks for the generous contributions. Hush. Shout out to the starters, too. Mikal really willed set this up. Steady played great. Or I don't know what that. Steady played great. OG, Hart, love him. Cat will bounce back. I'm in heavens. Let's go Knicks. Hush, you seem to fly. You seem to be pretty volatile. When they win, you're feeling really good. When they lose, you're not feeling so good. I'm glad you're feeling good tonight. No, the starters were good. Josh Hart, really good game. OG, really good game. Mikal, great game. Brunson, great game. Great end. Great start, great end. And Cat, I'm pulling for him against Boston. I'm pulling for him. I love Karl-Anthony Towns. I love rooting for him, so I'm pulling for him. Thanks, Hush. Dom the dentist. By the way, holy shit, Cat sucked today. You wasn't good. I don't know what Benjy. I haven't seen Benjy's grade book yet or grades for tonight yet. I would imagine Cat's going to get something in the C- range, but we'll see. Thanks, Dom. Chris Carter with another one. The second round matchup feels like when you've handed in your 2 weeks notice at the job, but you still have to show up for the 2 weeks. No, I'm not going to go there yet, Chris. Look, they could lose this series in 4 games. They could lose it in 5 games. They could lose some of these games ugly. Boston is that good. The Knicks are that inconsistent. If that actually happens, like it is a reflection on the team and all of that sort of thing and the coach and everything. I am not putting it past them to make this series competitive. And I think the Knicks will go into this series with the mentality of we can play with this team. Will they play with this team? Should they think that they can play with this team? I can't answer those questions. Although I guess I'll try over the next several days. I think they will go into the series with a genuine belief, not a fake belief, a genuine belief that they could win this thing. I'm not going to write them off because of their inconsistency. Their inconsistency is the reason why they've infuriated us. But implicit in when calling a team inconsistent is the fact that there's good with the bad. I would love to think that maybe we get a little bit more of the good than the bad in this series, because here's the thing, Chris. When this team is good, they're really good. You know, they're really good. And I know they didn't really show it a ton in this Detroit series. I get that. And I know they did not show it against the best teams in this season. I get that. It's in there somewhere. And what a great time it would be to unlock it. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you. Brando, LLB, layup line Bridges. Layup line, baby. That's all it was. The whole time. It was just a layup line. That's all they needed. That was the secret. Oh, man. Thank you. Okay. Oh, Benjy did the grade. Towns D+. Okay, I was wondering if it was C- or D+. He went D+. That's fair. Christopher Halecki, what's going on, Chris? Perfect win for an imperfect team. Go Knicks. Perfect. It was a perfect win for them. Fitting win for their season. To a T. Thanks, Chris. James Morgan, what's going on, James? How are you? Clutch player of the year called series. That's our captain. I love, there are some nights where Brunson gets too much love, and I'm like, man, this wasn't just JB. Like, this player showed up, and that player showed up. And tonight, like, to be clear, I'm just going to read actually off Benjy's grades. Brunson got the A+, which I actually didn't know if he was going to get the A+, but I guess when you hit a shot that big, then you deserve it. He has Bridges as an A. OG initially put as a B+. He said he would revise it to an A-, which I agree with. I think OG was probably an A- along with Bridges. So, like, Bridges and Anunoby, like, definitely deserve to get their flowers. And again, Hart played a good game. Hart played a really good game. I get all that. Tonight's a night to shower love on Jalen Brunson. It is. With a sidebar for Bridges, just because Bridges had such a tough year, and so many people, including me, very much so, especially recently, have been very hard on him. And so I love all the Brunson love. The only other guy would be Bridges. OG got paid this offseason, so he's fine. Thanks, James. Freeway Hustler 21. What's going on, Freeway Hustler? The twerking caused vibrations in Beasley's hands, which consequently caused him to cough up his team's season. Thank the Lord for physics. I'm so happy he didn't shoot that ball. Listen, the Knicks played good defense down the stretch of this game. Here, you want to talk about stuff that you could learn about a team? The Pistons tonight scored 4 points in the last 4 minutes of the game. You know? That's not good. It's not good. Thanks, Freeway Hustler. Abe Eckstein, fire Tibbs now. Of course, we got to get a fire Tibbs. You know what? Mike Malone lost his job with 3 or 4, whatever games it was to go in the regular season, and Taylor Jenkins not long before that. Look, I'm not going to go on a whole. I did my Tibbs talk before. Come to my Tibbs talk. Not the best series for Tibbs. Talked about it with Benji on the Patreon. We both agree it just might be time for a new voice. I will say that I think the players have his back. You know, the telltale sign that you got to move on from the coach is the players stop responding. I think the players respond to this coach. There's just something very strange about the DNA of this team, and I do think he deserves some of the blame, some portion of the blame. I don't know how much for why the pieces haven't added up. It's also just been a weird year, and it's been a year of trying to just figure it out. And he's in the same boat, you know, along with the players. Players have all tried to figure it out. Not all that much success. Him too. So it's been a year for all of them. It really has. Thanks, Abe. Jose Von Vallejo. What's going on, Jose Von? Captain Clutch to win it. Gotta love the Malik Beasley turnover to end the series. Hashtag poetic justice. I love that Beasley's getting shat on. I love that he's getting shat on. He deserves it. He talked his mouth off the whole fucking time. Talked his mouth off like he's Cade Cunningham. Dude, you're not Cade Cunningham. You're not even Jalen Duren. You know? You're a shooter. You have one real good NBA skill, and you've parlayed it into a career. Congratulations. Does not give you the right to mouth off. You know, you want to look at what a pro is? Go look at Jalen Brunson. That's a pro. Giving Asar Thompson his flowers after the series. Talking him up. That's a pro. You know? Not saying it's easy to be a pro, but, you know, something to think about. Thanks, Josevon. Shout out, by the way. I think we have like 6,000 people watching. So, hi. Franco Davey. What's going on, Franco? This fucking team. I believe in Tibbs. All right. So someone doesn't want Tibbs fired. I believe in Bruns. Him. Happy for Bridges. Go New York. Go New York. Go. Yeah. Look, obviously we believe in Brunson. I'm happy for Bridges too. I believe in Bridges. Bridges has absolutely made me a believer in this series. Do we believe in Tibbs? I do still, but I'm a glutton for punishment. But yeah, I do believe in him. Thanks, Franco. Brunson Burner 32. Hey, John, it's Mike from T-Squared Social. What's going on, Mike? Oh, my God. Brunson is him. That is all LOL. Let's go Knicks and KFS. Thanks, Mike. That really means a lot. And I just want to give a big shout out to T-Squared Social. They have been such an incredible partner for Knicks Film School throughout the entire season. Just the absolute best sports bar in New York. And when we, realized they were willing to host watch parties all year and be a help in what we try to do in building this community, we're just really thankful. And they were great. And, we're looking forward to more great stuff with them moving forward. I'm sure there's going to be another watch party in the postseason. But shout out to them. 42nd Street, just down the block from Grand Central. Going to be some good playoff games this weekend. The Knicks are not going to be playing a playoff game this weekend, but there will be some good playoff games. So go watch them at T-Squared Social. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. Brando, shout out GMAC LLLCA. Love it. Oh, that's right. Shout out to Fred Katz, too. All right. Thanks, Brando. Robert W. Cross, what's going on, Robert? Yeah, first time, long time. It's your boy John. The Magic is in the work. On to Boston. Hashtag Nixon 6. Marcus, I have to reveal what I was just talking about. Everybody should look forward to a great piece coming soon from Fred Katz. Fred, you're texting me as I'm talking about you. Go do your job. How about that? How about go do your job? Instead of listening to me babble. Or how about even better? Come on the show. Why don't you go get yourself in front of a laptop at your hotel room, wherever the hell you are, and come on in and talk Knicks. Didn't you do that last postseason? I'm pretty sure for one of these marathon post games, you came on. Anyway, yeah, shout out to Fred Katz. Oh, Jesus. He has super chats. Oh, God. Great. We're going to get some Fred Katz super chats. That's exactly what I need in my life. Look for a article. I can okay, so now Fred's telling. So Fred's in the shower. That's why he can't come on. There you go. Look forward to a great article coming from Fred Katz of The Athletic, where everybody should subscribe to read all of Fred Katz's wonderful articles, along with all of their other wonderful sports writers doing great work. He's going to have something coming soon about Mikal Bridges, which apparently came as a result of a very nice one-on-one that, of course, Fred gets because Fred is one of the most respected journalists covering the NBA, and we love that he takes the time to make time for us. So shout out to Fred. All right, it's enough of that. Thank you, Robert. Also, Mike Kelly, what's going on, Mike? Hey, boys, first time, long time. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you coming on. It's your boy, Mike, the Dirty Dog. Okay, my heart is officially beat out of my chest. A lot of work to do, but onwards. Yeah, they got a lot of work to do. I don't know how much of that work realistically is going to be able to be done in the next couple of weeks versus the offseason. But hey, I'm excited to see it. Like Benji said, he's excited. I'm excited too. So there you go. Michael Mendonez. What's going on, Michael? Hey, Macri, if you had one shot or opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or let it slip away? Man, I hope every day I wake up with this, not with this lyric going through my head, because that would make me a pretty big fucking loser, more than I already am. But I do try to seize the opportunity every day. I promise you that. Every day, probably a little bit too much, but you only get, as you say, you only get one shot. So there you go. Thanks, Michael. Nikki Double G. What's going on, Nikki Double G? Cade and Schroeder, first team all forehead. I love beating Schroeder too. He was such a pest. Great team win. Sneaky Mikal game. I gotta tell you, Nikki, wasn't that sneaky? He was phenomenal. Coach or comeback player of the year or clutch player of the year, doing his effing thing. Doing his thing. F who? Say it louder. Celtics are going to be a beast. Yeah. You said a lot there. I co-sign all of it, especially the forehead part. The Celtics are a beast. I think they'll be as ready as they could be to win. That's what I'll say. Thanks, Nikki. Double G. Pee-wee's Burnt Pizza. 2 great series for the right to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Pacers Cavs, although I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to that series. I mean, what the Cavs did to the Heat was cruel in the last round. And the Pacers, you know, they had their brain farts. But that's gonna be a good series. I hope this is a great series. I really do. If this is a great series, I'll be really, I mean it. I'll be happy if it's a great series, regardless of the outcome. Thanks, Pee-wee. Freeway Hustler. Cade missed the kill shot. JB did not. Let national media suck on that. Look, the national media, they have to have narratives. They have to have storylines. What we do here at Knicks Film School, what I love about what we do is I shouldn't say we always do this. I don't always do this. The people that I have the pleasure of working with always do this. They inject nuance into everything. And we try to make conversations nuanced. And sometimes that's in favor of the Knicks. Sometimes it's not in favor of the Knicks. National media, they don't really have that luxury because, you know, they're not catering to a niche, sophisticated fan base like we are. So for that reason, does that stuff really bother me? Not really. Stuff that bothers me from the national media is just stuff that's like ridiculous and outlandish. But, you know, it is what it is. And again, they need to say it ridiculous, outlandish stuff because it gets ratings and clicks and views and all that shit. Yeah. Thanks, Freeway Hustler. Thomas Fitzpatrick, thank you very much for the generous contribution, Thomas. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Macri and Co. Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you for watching, man. Seriously. Still processing what just happened, but just thankful for Jalen Brunson. I mean, you heard me and Benji at the top of the show. We didn't know what to do. I'll start thinking about the Celtics tomorrow, a special player we will look back on one day and remember fondly. When am I going to start thinking about the Celtics? That's a great... I'm not going to think about them tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to have to get up and go to work somehow. No, I'm going to show up to work tomorrow. I will show up to work tomorrow. That's going to be fun. And then we have date night tomorrow night. We got a sitter, and we get to go out with another couple who are friends of ours and have not been out with in a very long time. And I am going to have to find some Adderall or Coke or fucking something to keep me up because I am going to go out tomorrow night and I'm going to enjoy myself. And then maybe Saturday, I'll start thinking about the Celtics. Anyway, thanks, Thomas. Appreciate you. And yes, we're going to remember Jalen Brunson for the rest of our lives. Jibo with another one. Thank you again, Jibo. If he wasn't before tonight, JB is officially a top 10 Knick of all time. Mikal, that tip saved us. I will save my Tibbs ire for another day. Look, you know, Tibbs did not win them the series necessarily. He didn't lose them the series. You know, they're a team with flaws. He's part of those flaws. He should get some smoke, but he should also get like. I don't think I don't know that tonight is the night to be like, boy, they really won that one despite Tibbs. I no longer possess the ability, I don't think, to be objective about the coach. So what I say, I don't think has much value. Although I'd like to think I've come around a little bit over the last few months. But I don't think that's necessarily called for tonight. That said, Jalen Brunson, is he a top 10 Knick of all time? Without question. That's not a conversation anymore. Because Bernard King is a top 10 Knick of all time, and now Jalen Brunson has surpassed King in terms of playoff exploits, in terms of even regular season. I mean, King finished second in MVP. Jalen Brunson hasn't done that, but he's been he's there. It's now the march to the top 5 for him. Thanks, Chibo. Jose Vaughn with another one. G-Mac, do your thing. Let's go Knicks. He did his thing. He's 101. We love GMAC here. Oscar Lung, what's going on? Shout out to the other side of the world. Don't talk shit about my guy, layup line Mikal again. I won't, man. I won't. I will not. I will not do that. I'm going to take credit. Oscar, I'm going to take credit. Because that newsletter that I wrote last week, it was out of character for me. And there's some, I had a reason for writing it that is, would not shower me in glory. But I did have a reason for writing it. Regardless, it was really just, I let out some frustration. And the point of the newsletter was to show that, or to point out at least, that I think he was an embodiment of the frustration that a lot of fans had with this team all season long, which, by the way, I don't actually think is untrue. I think he is, was before tonight, a representation for a lot of fans of the frustration with this team. And I did write, I was like, well, that's not necessarily fair. But this team is not like last year's team. And he's the closest thing they have to a poster child for why that is. Now, was that a fair statement to make? No. It wasn't. Because I think, and this is what's tough about this. If you're going to make a poster child for the difference between this year's team and last year's team, the unfortunate reality is it has to be Cat. Cat has had a much better season than Mikal Bridges. There's no question about that. Cat's going to make an All-NBA team. But if you look at how last year's team was so sturdy and this year's team can appear rickety at times, and you consider what Cat brings and what he doesn't bring from time to time, I think it's Cat. And I also think Cat's the perfect representation because what is this team? It's super high ceiling, low floor. That's Cat in a nutshell. And you saw it tonight. And you saw it throughout the series. And I think Mikal, it was more about him just kind of getting, I think it was an adjustment to the culture, which I think was tough for him. Adjustment to the coach, which I think was very tough for him. And just kind of getting lost in the sauce and lost in the shuffle. And figuring out how to play a role that was not really easy for him to play from day one. So he got a lot of shit. And I probably didn't deserve a lot of it. He didn't deserve a lot of it. And I'll own up to that. That's my bad. And I'm sorry for that. I'm happy he had a great game. He's a really good player. He had a rough season. Not worth 5 first-round picks. He was a really good player in the series. And he was everything they needed. So there you go. Hush with another one. I like Detroit. Reminds me of our team last year. Good future. With that being said, Cade is not on the same level as JB. Really levels to this. Let's go Knicks. You want to know what Jalen Brunson did that changed his ceiling as an NBA player? He developed a pull-up 3. Didn't have it his first year here, which was, by the way, his 5th year in the league. What was this year for Cade? His 5th year in the league. Is he going to develop a pull-up 3? We'll find out. I think he needs to. I think he needs to develop one. Thanks, Hush. Hayden Freed with another one. Thank you, Hayden. Crazy, this guy has never been the best player in any series he's ever played in. Yeah. Hashtag mentally tough. Who? Hashtag Captain Clutch. Hashtag Bruns him. Hashtag proud. They all apply. And we should be proud. Thanks, Hayden. Alex, 23 for 26, non-Mitch free throws. Everyone mattered. Good job. We were talking about it during the game. Excellent call by you, Alex, to bring that up. Again, there are different forms of toughness. Mental toughness is a form of toughness. The Knicks, in going and taking in controlling what they could control in some respects tonight, didn't do it enough. The turnovers in the second and fourth quarter were obviously infuriating, but they did do some things tonight that showed a team that had some real mental toughness and some mettle to them. What were the final turnover numbers? Detroit 15, the Knicks 17. My goodness gracious. 17 freaking turnovers. My God, Tibbs is not going to sleep tonight. And the Pistons scored 24 points off those 17 turnovers. That just goes to show me the Knicks half-court defense was fine tonight. It really was. It was fine. It was good. It was good. But it was just the turnovers. It was the turnovers. It was the transition defense. They hit their free throws. They were really good on the boards. They out-rebounded tonight, Detroit, 43-36. That was really good. Just freaking turnovers, man. Freaking turnovers. Thanks, Alex. Will Oliver, what's going on, Will? McCall's tip-in was just as clutch as JB's shot. Yeah, they don't win the game without it. We're sitting here talking about fucking Game 7 if he doesn't tip that ball in. Place, time, wherewithal, everything. Massive. Massive. Thanks, Will. Jalen, what's going on, Jalen? I don't know if this is Jalen Brunson. I'm going to assume that it's not. You never know. Thank you for the generous contribution. Back again, John. Thank God they won this game. We finally win a third quarter, and immediately after I had to ask myself, why do I do this? And Jalen Brunson showed me why. Let's go, Knicks. Thanks, KFS. That's really kind, Jalen. Thank you so much. I was worried when I started off the post game with like a kind of not full-throated, like, hey, we won the series. Everything is great. This is awesome. And instead, it was more like, let's talk about this. I was worried that I because you never know. Sometimes I miss the mark. And I'm not, with where the fan base is a majority of them are. I think tonight, based on the comments that we've gotten, it seems like we're all on the same page. So, yeah. Thank you, Jalen. Appreciate that. Haitian Ferg, my man, my compatriot for years. I'm happy we get to celebrate tonight together. They believed in themselves when we had forsaken them. In this game, they are together, and they are now ready for Boston. Win or lose, they showed me that they're willing to fight. Let's go, Knicks. Man, you down 7? You down 7 with, get it right. Get it right. You down 7 with 2.5 minutes to go on the road when the team that you're playing has outscored you in the fourth quarter by a margin of 27-9. Think about that. 27-9. And you down 7 on the road? I gotta think it's tempting to just be like, and by the way, you couldn't buy a bucket for a few minutes when you had got good shots. I gotta think it's tempting to just be like, listen, man, I'll see you back in New York. Not this team. Not this team. Thanks, Haitian. Jesse D, what's going on, Jesse? Biggest Knicks shot since LJ. Take it and run. Ooh, boy. That's a statement. The only so you say shot. Patrick Ewing. You're gonna make me go old head on us now. Jesus Christ. Eastern Conference. All right. Game 7, Knicks Heat in Miami. With Sorry, I don't have Andrew Claudio's encyclopedic. Yeah, I thought it was a Ewing dunk. I knew it was a Ewing dunk. This was with a minute 20 seconds remaining. Patrick Ewing made a dunk to put the Knicks up by 1. Neither team scored for the rest of the game. Shows you how basketball was in the late 90s, early 2000s. And that was after a Tim Hardaway 3 put the Heat up by 1. Knicks had been up by 2. That shot didn't come in the last minute. It did put them in the conference finals. I remember it. I was watching it at... Shout out to Vanessa Brochin. I was watching it at her house. It's either that or the Hart 3 in Game 6 versus Philly that would be in competition for this. Sitting here right now, I think it's too early to tell. I think we have to wait to see how the rest of this year plays out, and I'm not even sure why I think so. But it just feels I need to see how the rest of this year plays out. It's in contention. It's in contention with those two, and I think there's a good chance that by the end of the season we do look at it as number 1. But since the LJ 4-point play. Thanks, Jesse. Jalen. With another one. Shout out, Jalen. Shout out to Larsa Pippen's ex for selling the game, by the way. I have no idea what that's in reference to, but sure. Thanks, Jalen. Maybe Brunson. Barry Craver, what's going on, Barry? How you doing, bud? Long time no talk. This Brunson ISO ball is driving me mad. That's third quarter. Hart cut, Brunson passed, and we were cooking. Yeah, I mean, look, it's the playoffs. You have a great isolation scorer. You have a great shot maker. You're going to get some isolations. Were there some possessions in the fourth quarter that left a bit to be desired? Yes. To sit here and nitpick and pick and choose which of Jalen Brunson's the aspects of his greatness that we want versus that we don't, and more generally, like wishing he was, a Nikola Jokic level decision maker / engine, like that. Like he's not that level of player. He's an incredible shot maker. There are times where he maybe doesn't take the right shot, where it should be a pass. I am happy to be criticized for being overly sympathetic to Jalen when I say, give me all of his negative traits any day of the week, and I will be so happy to live with them for as long as I am lucky enough to get to root for this player and everything he does. and everything he has meant to this franchise, which was in the fucking wilderness when he arrived. So, again, can he be better? Of course. He knows that. And he wants to be better. Nobody wants to be better than Jalen Brunson. And that's why you live with the parts that aren't perfect. Because you know that guy only cares about one thing. And he did that one thing tonight. Thanks, Barry. Anthony Perino, what's going on, Anthony? I love Jalen more than anyone, but he has to trust Cat more for long-term success. He closed it incredibly, but it didn't have to get to that point. I think there is two sides to this coin. You heard Benjy talk about Cat tonight. You heard Benjy talk about how Cat needs to be more assertive. I've said the Cat needs to be more assertive. I said it after Game 5. He had that amazing, wonderful post-up on Tobias Harris and then got in Tobias Harris's face afterwards. It was the only time in the fucking game he got a post-up all the way down into the restricted area. And I don't think he did it once tonight. Players have agency. It's not like Cat didn't get touches. And to be honest with you, after the first 3 quarters the Cat had, I'm not sure how much I wanted him touching the ball in the fourth quarter. You know, he did not instill a ton of faith in me. Now, I know Game 4, you'd say the same thing and he hit those big shots, but that's just me. And I don't think the collapse was Jalen Brunson being a ball hog. I think it was a collection and a multitude of brain farts and sins that if I was a better man, I might go back and try to digest, and I don't think I'm going to do that. Frankly. No, I don't think I will. All right. Thanks, Anthony. Jeff Guitars, what's going on, Jeff? Thanks for the contribution, man. Maybe Detroit is really good, and we just got sharpened for a banged up soft Boston team. They don't have a Thompson for JB. How did he keep his pivot foot on that reverse? No idea. The crossover was Jordan-esque. It was a pretty special moment. I think you better be prepared for what this Boston team is going to have in store. Did this series sharpen the Knicks? I do think it did. Did the Pistons do some things to frustrate the Knicks that I'm not sure Boston is necessarily going to do in the way that Detroit did them? I already talked about that. Yes. If Boston executes and Boston plays their game, there's not a team in basketball that could beat them, the Knicks included. That's just reality. Are they always at their best? No. Might they be a little banged up? Yes. We have to see just the best version of this Knicks team, a version of this Knicks team that we have not seen all year. Is it in there somewhere? I believe it is. Do I believe we're going to see it? You know, we'll see. They got some pretty good defenders, but you're right. They don't have a Thompson. They do not have a Thompson. They don't. Thanks, Jeff. Mr. McBagels. I could use a McBagel. I thought I was dreaming during the third quarter. Yeah, it was great, man. That was great stuff. That was great stuff, that third quarter. It was a pleasure to watch. And I wish the game could have ended after it ended. Although then we would have had the Brunson shot or the Bridges put back. So, yeah. Thanks, Mr. McBagels. Kento Cato. What's going on, Kento? I'd say JB looked like the best player in the series. Ugly, but fuck it. Just relieved. No more Beasley talking, dancing, Detroit fans, media crying, or moving screens. And thank you, Bickerstaff, for being done. Helped the Knicks more than Tibbs did. Again, a little Tibbs slight in there. I don't know why are we so hard on Tibbs tonight? Like, it's funny. I think that Tibbs deserves a lot of smoke for this series. We gave it to him after the last game. I thought tonight was indicative of some really bad habits that this team has. I didn't have an issue with Tibbs substitutions tonight. I didn't have an issue with the game plan. They just they just decided to kick the ball around for 2 out of the 4 quarters. And I don't know what, I'm sure someone smarter than me has some theories about some obvious ways that Tibbs could have, prevented them from being, what they were in the second and fourth quarter, but I digress. In terms of, Detroit and their fans and all that, Boston is not going to engage with any of that nonsense. They're a team of pros, consummate professionals, ton of respect for their coach. Jason Tatum, if you could build around any player in the league right now, after Wemby, after Jokic, after SGA, I think Tatum's probably. Giannis deserves to be in that conversation. This is going to sound like a silly take, but I'm going to say it. I would rather, if you gave me the choice of having Giannis or Tatum on my team today, I would take Tatum. And I wouldn't have to think that hard about it. I just think he's such a phenomenal player and can beat you in so many ways. And he's just so easy to build around. And that's part of this Boston. Part of this Boston team is like, team building was kind of easy for them because they had these 2 wings. So it's like, all right, well, we got we got the tough part out of the way. Now, how do we fill in the gaps around them? And they've done a great job of that. Thanks, Kento. All right, we got a couple from Dom Cappuccini, my man, who's been with me for years here. Great KFS supporter and a great Knicks fan. I'm happy Detroit is familiar with playoff JB. He's a flopper. Get the F out of here. Fitting end for that fan base. Get familiar. Listen, they have had nothing to root for 15 years. And again, it's Detroit. They have to live in Detroit. I don't know if you've ever been to Detroit, Dom. I've been to Detroit a couple times. I've said it. It's a wonderful job by them rebounding from the brink of oblivion. It's still Detroit. So very happy they got to see 3 consecutive losses in their building. Another one from Dom here. Thank you again, Dom. I'm thankful for the win and no first round exit. I am glad that my team just got to the second round to hopefully prove my Game 5 Super Chat's wrong. Still got a lot of work to do. Let's go Knicks and KFS. Yeah, I mean, at some point over the next few days, we will turn to the conversation of like what counts as a successful second round. I think that's an interesting conversation. It's one that I don't know that I am prepared to sit here and answer right now. I mean, I know what would be successful. A win would be successful. I think any getting to 7 games, any way, shape, or form would be successful. I think there's a world where they lose in 6. Depending on how the games went, I think there's a world where that could be considered a successful series. Less than 6 games? That's going to be tough. And I could even see a world where they lose in 6 and we're left not feeling great. Can they get it to 6 games? I got, I have a weird, funny feeling. I think they're going to take one of the first 2 games in Boston. I really do. I don't think they're going to go down 0-2. I think they're going to take one of the first 2 games. Does that mean they make it to 6 games? Not necessarily, but it would certainly help their chances. Thanks, Tom. Yona Katursky. What's going on, Yona? Thank you for the generosity. No triple bang. Can only hope that they play loose against Boston. Give him hell. Go KFS. Thank you so much. Thank you for the generous contribution. Thank you for the shout out. I kind of implied this earlier. Maybe they go into Boston and they're just like, hey, man, we're minus, or the Celtics are minus 850 to win. That's essentially like 9-1 odds against us. let's go out there and give them hell. You know? Do they have that in them? I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks, Yona. Appreciate that. Adam DeFulvio, thank you for the generosity. The generosity tonight is off the charts. I know it's a closeout game. I'm still incredibly appreciative of everybody who is coming through. Thank you. God, that win felt so good. I'm going to enjoy this win. F all the haters. We got a shot now at the team we all collectively hate. Go Knicks. Don't hate me, Adam. I don't hate the Celtics. I respect the hell out of the Celtics. I hated the Sixers. I hate the Pacers. I hate the Pistons. Emphasis on piss. You know, I don't. I'm trying to think who else. I hate the Heat. I hate the Nets. I'm sure there's some teams out west that I hate. I just have so much respect for the team that Boston has built and how they go about their business. Drew Holiday is, you know, just such a delight. Derek White, like Al Horford, you know, these guys play the game you want that as the way the game should be played. I know it's how about that? Nick, I just thought of this now. Wild that I've been talking for 2 hours and 46 minutes, and it just dawned on me there's gonna be Knicks versus Porzingis in the playoffs. How about that? But that's again, I don't even hate Porzingis. You know, he's a kid. He grew up since he's been here. I'm sure he's not going to say anything inflammatory. He's revitalized his career in Boston, and good job by him for doing so. So yeah, I don't hate them. I respect them. I fear them, and I think they could be beat. And that's really all there is to it. So let's hope they go out and do just that. Thanks, Adam. Zip Davis, what's going on, Zip? Let's never give up on our heroes. Macri, may I please get a big OOHWEE? Ooh-wee! Did I get that right? I don't know what that was. I don't know. Thanks, Zip. Precocious Salmon. Oh, I remember this guy. Shout out to you. Thank you for the generous contribution, man. First time, long time. Feels like I don't know why do I remember that name then? Maybe it's just deja vu. Feels like we maybe weren't the better team across all 6 games, but found a way to get through. The Pistons have a bright future. Why does everything feel so hard on offense? Thank you, Jalen Brunson and KFS fam. All right, let's take that one by one. Were they the better team across all 6 games? No. I thought Benji nailed it when he said they became the better team in game 3. And then from game 3 on, when things didn't go well, it was them not being able to get out of their own way and them with the self-inflicted wounds. Pistons have a bright future. Absolutely. I think they have some interesting decisions to make. I think it's tricky, the fact that they have a lead playmaker and a starting center who they, I think, believe in, and a core piece in Asar Thompson, none of whom could currently really shoot the basketball. I understand Cade obviously shot it this year, but as far as a real genuine pull-up threat. So I think what that says is they may have just been a much worse matchup for the Knicks than we may have realized, or the Knicks just really did not play that well in the series. Then again, like, the Pistons have been really good since like January. So, I don't know. I do think they have a bright future. Why does everything have to be so hard on offense? It's been the story of the playoffs. It's been the story of the year. Why? Because they can't figure out how to navigate wings guarding Karl-Anthony Towns. That's the answer. If you want the answer, that's the answer. That's it. That's the answer. And yet tonight, you know what? Precocious. Tonight, it wasn't that hard on. They scored 37 points in the first and third quarter. Now, if you want to tell me the first quarter was a lot of Jalen Brunson looking like Jalen Brunson, that's fine. The third quarter, I thought they were, again, I don't use this. I thought they were borderline brilliant in the third quarter. How many times did I write down ball movement, passing, ball movement? Like I'm looking at my notes. Just great stuff. Like they came out in the third quarter and that was maybe the best quarter they've played all postseason. Maybe other than a couple of the fourth quarters, but from a process standpoint, their third quarter was incredible. And then they look like a bunch of fucking grade schoolers, which gets to your point. Why does it all have to look so hard? I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much, Precocious. Once a Nick, always a Nick. Thank you for the generous contribution, my friend. Appreciate you. Will Kebby, Bing Bong. I didn't think I was going to have a Bing Bong tonight, but sure, why not? Bing Bong. Knicks tonight, by the way, in terms of like, why does everything have to be so hard? I mentioned I thought the passing was good in spots. 18 assists on 41 made field goals. Not what you want. Okay, next up. Oh, Dominique Davis. Thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you for this incredible generosity, man. Thank you. Pistons fan. Oh boy. Congrats to you guys. You earned it. Your star showed out in our building, and our star had a humbling learning experience, screaming at my TV with Cat fouled out. Why didn't we double Brunson and make someone else beat us? Good luck, fellas. Can I mention JB Bickerstaff's name? Am I allowed to mention JB Bickerstaff's name? Look, I think in fairness, I know it doesn't seem like it in this series. OG Anunoby has hit some massive shots for this team. Mikal Bridges has hit some massive shots for this team. Now, Mitchell Robinson was in the game for all of that. He's an offensive rebound threat. He would have been a guy to consider leaving. The problem with Josh Hart, you can't leave Josh Hart because Josh Hart will figure out a way to hurt you. He's just too smart of a ball player. But the fact that Mitchell Robinson was in the game and you let Brunson beat you one-on-one. Because if Mitch is, I don't remember who was guarding Mitch. I'm assuming it actually doesn't even matter. Whoever was guarding Mitch, once you get to where it's, I don't know if it has to be 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. I think you have to bring Mitch's man up and then let Jalen Brunson try to get the pass to Mitchell Robinson. B, challenge Mitchell Robinson to catch a ball in the biggest spot of a game that he's ever been in as an NBA player. And then if you get past all of the lasers and the Sharks with lasers on their heads, then Mitchell Robinson either needs to do something with the ball that involves putting the ball in the basket. Good luck. Or make the correct read with time running down. And I want to go back and, you know what? This is such a generous super chat. Can I just take 2 seconds? I have it right here. Oops, what did I do? Okay. Hold on. I pulled up the. All right, there we go. All right. I have the I'm about to watch the last shot real quick. All right. So where is, oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. Mitchell Robinson wasn't in the game on the last play. So who do you help off of? let's see. They did a bunch formation. They had everybody in the lower left corner on the corner. Then they brought Bridges up to screen. Brunson didn't use the screen. So Harris could have come over. Now, the other option, Schroeder sticks to McBride. McBride hasn't been able to hit a freaking shot. I mean, he has hit shots. He had 4 threes in the series. McBride looked like he wasn't an NBA freaking player. So I'm watching it. Brunson crossed him over, or Brunson starts the drive at 8 seconds. At that point, do you bring Schroeder up and leave McBride, especially since McBride and Anunoby are both occupying the same space? So you have Cade there to guard if the kick goes there. Schroeder probably gets there right as Brunson finishes the crossover. If he beelines it right at this point, but by that, after the crossover, it's too late. Look, they played it straight up. There was something more they probably could have done. I do want to go back and on the tip shot. Let me just look at the tip shot real quick too. So on the tip shot, Mitch was in. So Bridges screened. Brunson comes around. Bridges is rolling. It's 2-on Brunson essentially. Duran has to guard Mitch there because Mitch is an offensive rebounding threat. And by the way, because Duran was paying so much attention to Mitch, that is what actually allowed. And because, by the way, Asar Thompson was paying more attention to Brunson because Bridges had screened him off, and it was now Schroeder on the coverage, but Thompson was still kind of having his focus on Brunson. All of that allowed Bridges to sneak in for the offensive rebound. So actually, Mitchell Robinson's presence in the game was instrumental, and you needed Durant to kind of cover him. Look, this stuff is tough. Probably could have brought someone up on the last play. Didn't happen. It's an unfortunate result. As far as your guy, Cade, having a humbling learning experience, if I was a Pistons fan, I would just be incredibly excited about Cade Cunningham moving forward. I'd be incredibly excited about Cade. I'd be very excited about Asar. The part that I would wonder about is Jalen Duran's about to ask for a lot of money. And I don't know if we've seen enough from him defensively. I don't know that, he's going to ask for $25 million a year, if not more. Have you seen enough from Duran defensively where you feel comfortable giving that guy a big 9-figure contract? Because he's going to have to be a defensive anchor. I think defensively he was pretty good in this. He was good in this series. He was good, but he also wasn't great. Is he going to get to great? Does he need to get to great, or does he need to just get to very good? Is there enough else there with the skill set? He has real offensive skill. The Duran piece is the one piece for you guys that I would wonder. I'm curious how if that contract, what happens with that this summer. But and you didn't have Beef Stew this series. Or the Knicks sitting here going to Boston if Beef Stew plays in this series. I don't know. Ivy, we'll see what Ivy. I'm a little bit more skeptical of Ivy than most, but I'll just say this. I don't know that not having Ivy, I don't know that how much that really hurt the Pistons in this series. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And if he again, talk about extension eligible, if he's not part of your future, what does that look like this summer? Is he a piece that goes out and does anyone in the league, is anyone really going to value him to the point of giving up something that the Pistons would really want? It's going to be a very interesting offseason. But nothing but good vibes for the Pistons for this summer. They should feel so great about themselves. You almost embarrassed this Knicks team. But it's a good effort by your team. And thank you again for the generosity, man. Appreciate that. Mr. Fabro, what's going on, Mr. Fabro? A loss tonight would probably have been the lowest point since the Phil Jackson era. We must enjoy this W. I was thinking about if they lost this series, where that would rank as far as the low points. I think it would be the low point of the Leon Rose era. I don't know that it would be fair. They could have been swept in this series by 25 points per game. And I'm not sure it would equal starting out 4-18 and firing David Fizdale immediately after you had the summer of 2019 that you had. Like, you want to talk about apples and oranges? That's apples and kumquats. That's apples and bowling balls. I don't know what that is. Apples and elephants. But yeah, that was pretty bad. Thanks, Mr. Fabro. Richard C. What's going on, Richard? How are you? This will play out like the 2007 Super Bowl. I really hope so. That would be wonderful. Thanks, Richard. Janella, what's going on, John? Long-time watcher, first-time chatter. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's freaking go. I'm trying to enjoy tonight and not think so far ahead. However, how important is Mitch versus Boston in your opinion? I said it. Shout out to Fanatic Sportsbook when they asked about my role player to watch. I think because it's just they're gonna figure out ways, and I mean, does anyone trust Cat to be good defensively for however many games the series lasts? I just think you're gonna need Mitch. Even if you try to switch Cat a bunch and challenge him to hold up in that respect. I don't see any universe where they are going to be able to have a chance in this series without Mitchell Robinson, A, playing, and B, playing well and making a real impact on defense against a team and a sort of team that gives him fits. And that because it doesn't just involve the skill level, of which I'm not even talking about on offense, but it involves the decision-making. And the quick decision making with this Boston team, which puts the best compliment that I could pay these Celtics, they put more pressure on you above the neck than they do below the neck. And I don't know that I trust Mitch to hold up. I still think they'll need him if they're going to have a chance to win. So we'll see. Thanks, John. Scott Thomas, what's going on, Scott? Timberwolves won the trade. Duran outplayed Cat. Randall's been very good. Cat and Robinson should be ashamed. So Scott's not feeling great, despite the fact that the Knicks won a playoff series tonight. I think it might be, not that any fan of any team has ever gotten overreactive for over a period that lasted, about 11 days. I think we maybe should wait until Julius Randle, has another playoff series before we make this proclamation. I think I said it. I think Cat had a B- series for him. Not great, but not bad. It was probably a little better, about average. A little better than average. Hit some wonderful moments in the series on both ends of the floor. I don't think Jalen Duren outplayed him. Randall has been good. Randall's a really good player. to let's maybe wait until both teams are done playing basketball. I'll just say that. Thanks, Scott. What an annoying super chat. Jason Kirsch, again, being a Knicks fan is like being a coke addict. I've never been a coke addict, so I can't say that with any level of certainty, but I trust you there that you're right. Thanks, Jason. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? How are you? Third straight second round appearance, first time since the early 90s. Speaks to how good Jalen is, in my opinion, and I'm happy the guy I advocated for came through. Kev, you loved Mikal Bridges from the get-go. He's made it tough on you at times. I'm glad he had this moment. I'm glad for you. I'm glad for him. And mostly I'm glad for me. Because I did not like where the Mikal thing was headed a few weeks ago. Even a week ago. If there's one guy, maybe even more than Cat, if there's one guy that I want to play well against Boston, it might be Bridges. Because that would just make the offseason like so much easier. Like, fire the coach, don't fire the coach. I don't give a shit. If Mikal Bridges goes out there and plays really well against Boston, it makes everything just immeasurably better and easier moving forward. You know, you figure out the Cat thing. Maybe you trade for a center. Maybe you do it, whatever. If Mikal has good series against Boston, that's so massive. Thanks, Kev. Alex, coke addict. That's why they call them layup lines. Took me about 4 seconds to get it. Took me 4 more seconds than it should have, Alex. But I got there. Thank you, sir. True statement. 2-0 against the Shimmy. When else did they beat Beasley? When else did they play Beasley in a playoff series? Or was it just like he did the Shimmy tonight and they won? I don't know. But whatever. Fuck him. Yeah, maybe the games. Guy Huber then. What's going on, Guy Huber? To another round of super chats. Yeah. Robert Cross messaged me I think yesterday saying, hey, there's one benefit to a game 6. I'm like, what's that? He's like, more super chats. I told him, I swear on my kids, this is true. Me and Andrew had a call after game 5. No, sorry, before game 5, the day of game 5, in which, we talked about the series, and I was like, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing for KFS if we got, another game or two here in this first round. And he's like, it's not worth it to me. And I looked at him, I'm like, it's not worth it to me either. Neither of us wanted any fucking part of tonight. We really didn't. But we got it, and it turned out okay. So there you go. But yeah, here's to another round of super chat. Sure. Thanks, Huber. Greg Film Stuff. What's going on, Greg? Brunson might be Jesus Christ. I've never met Jesus Christ. I've never met Jay Brunson either. I mean, I can't rule it out. Say that. I'm annoyed this series went to 6, but I'm happy with the win. Why can't we hold on to leads? This team is too talented to struggle on offense like this. I don't think Tibbs should be the coach next year. Greg, I think you're in good company with a lot of folks on that sentiment. I think there is a consensus opinion forming, even amongst people who have been, let's say, Tibbs neutral over the years. I think there was a consensus opinion forming that, hey, something's not adding up here. Maybe it's a new voice that would help. To which I say, I want to give him this series. I want to give him this Boston series. I want to see how he does. Do I think that he has like overtly done anything to like actively get fired or deserve to like be like, oh, that's egregious, we need to get no. But there comes a point in time where you have to ask yourself, is this the best coach for us moving forward? And even if the coach you're talking about, I could, even if you could sit here and bring up 10 different complaints about him, and I could come back at you with 10 different responses to those complaints, and we could go back and forth. That's not where they are in their life cycle as a team, as a roster, as an organization. They are at the point where they need to put their absolute best foot forward. And based on what we've seen this year and in these 6 Pistons games, I think there is an extraordinarily valid conversation about whether their best foot is one that includes Tom Thibodeau as the coach. And yet, as I say that, man just won a playoff series 30 in a row. So let's give him some props here. Oh, we have a picture now from Twitter. Yes. Jalen Brunson is, in fact, Jesus Christ. Confirmation. Because the internet said so. Joe M., what's going on? Joe, first time, long time from neighbor and a fan. You just met. I was walking the dog. I went home during a free period today. I was walking the dog so the dog could relieve herself. And I felt bad. I was on the phone and I see someone in a car waiting for the alternate side of the street parking. And I see him look and like wave. And I was on a call trying to schedule a doctor's appointment, actually. And I felt bad. But I got off and I was happy to get to meet you today. You didn't interrupt anything to say hello. It was fine. That was awesome. I always get it. It's always crazy to me when I meet anyone who listens to the show. So that was great. Anyway, and say hi if you ever see me again. Happy and relieved for our team. Grateful for everyone at KFS. You all help us process the consternation, embrace the jubilation. Let's go Knicks. That's a great line. Can I steal that? Process the consternation, embrace the jubilation. The tough part this year is, Joe, that it's like Ghostbusters crossing the streams, right? It feels like we've crossed the streams with those two things so often that, just speaking for myself, it has thrown off like my ability to like stay balanced. Like, look at tonight. How much consternation did we have to process tonight? How much jubilation did we get to embrace tonight? A ton. Throughout this series, there's been a ton of both. We have had weeks. I've said this recently, or I wrote this recently. There have been weeks where they've gone 3-1. And the 3 wins, all good wins, solid, good, the whole thing. And then that one loss makes you like, it's like the 3 wins didn't even matter or didn't even happen. That's been this team. It has been something about them. It has to do with the expectations. It has to do with what went into building them, what they gave up to build them, and all of those things. It's just been an extraordinarily, frankly, bizarre at times season. But I'm happy we're here, and I'm happy I can meet you earlier today. Altered Yeast. What's going on, Altered Yeast? JB is incredible. Gotta extend leads. # bread rise. That's great. Yes, we do have to get better about extending leads. Thank you. Jeff Egnesi. Oh, Jesus. Egnasic. I hope I got that right. I think I got that right. First time, long time. Thank you, KFS. Man, thank you so much. Seriously, I promise you I'm not taking these for granted as I pour myself a little bit more bourbon because it's 2 a.m. and I still have to write a newsletter. Thank you. We are so lucky to do what we do. I'm so lucky to do what I do and be able to and be able to do this now essentially for a living. It's just, I know it's sports and I know it shouldn't matter as much as it does. It matters a lot. It matters a lot to a lot of us. And like this team has made, I think everybody, if you're sane, have a moment where you've gone like, man, I'm done because this shit ain't worth it. But those tough moments make the good moments all the better. And I may not remember tonight for all the best reasons. I will remember tonight for the rest of my life, and ultimately it will be because of a very good reason. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. The Venture Real, thank you for the contribution. Appreciate you. Z Raheem, thank you, Z. Are we having fun yet? Oh, always. This show gets me through all the roller coaster of emotion this team puts us through. Thank you for what you fellas do, man. Thank you. It's our pleasure. It's our honor. It's my honor. And I am just so grateful that there is a fan base that wants to watch us, and chooses us to be their conduit. And also, just to be a member of the most amazing content creation team out there. There's nobody who has the group that we have. I'd say that's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Up and down. I got to watch the game tonight with Jeff, freaking Emmy winner, giving his talents to KFS. Just wild. So thank you so much, Z. Appreciate that. All right. Still somehow got 6,000 eyes watching this baby. I love it. Oh, and just in time, one of those 6,000 eyes is my mom, who just super chatted. She stays up late to watch these things. I don't know if she's still watching now. Mom, if you're up and still watching, 1, shoot me a text, and 2, go the hell to bed. My Lord. Marcia Carousel, here we go. So proud to be a Knicks fan. Determination was clearly displayed in tonight's game. Thank you, KFS, for the connection to the team. So I've obviously been a Knicks fan for a long time. And my mom's always been around and seen that, and always, bought me jerseys as a kid. And, when I was like, oh, no, we can't do this or that on this day because there's a game, she didn't argue. And then I started doing this however many years ago. And then she became a newsletter subscriber and then started watching the post games. And my mother, she treats the halftime Zooms, which for anybody watching doesn't know, if you're a Knicks Film School newsletter subscriber, I do halftime Zooms. So become a subscriber, come hear me at halftime and hear the likes of Jason M. and Kevin and Kyle and Ray Marcano and the whole crew there. But she treats these little halftime Zooms, which are usually I don't know, 20, 30 people, if that, not even, like I'm addressing the fucking United Nations. It's like she can't miss one. I'll get a text in the middle of the day from my mom, be like, I have a dinner tonight. So it's like a black tie affair, but I'm going to sneak out during halftime so I can make sure I watch the Zoom. I'm like, Mom, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. But she makes it a point to watch them and, reads every newsletter and watches every thing. But I'm burying the lead. The point here is something clicked. I think last year for sure, maybe it started the year before that, where it went beyond, hey, my kid is, doing this stuff with his time. I want to support him and be a good mother. But it went beyond that. She actually started really caring about this team and knows them in and out. And not just because of anything I say, because she watches them and lives and dies with them. And it goes to show, I'm sure we have people out there watching right now who are teenagers. Maybe this is their first or second or third year watching this team. And then we have people out there who, have been diehard fans for 70 years. And then, but it goes to show, like, you could be a almost 75-year-old woman and find the Knicks late in life, at that point in life. And it all counts the same because we're all in the same boat at the end of the day. And that's a really cool thing. And it's why sports are just so unique. And they bond us together unlike anything else. So, Mom, I'm really happy to share tonight with you and share this team with you. And certainly didn't need to send it a super chat, but I appreciate it. So thank you. I'll talk to you. I was going to say I'll talk to you tomorrow. I guess I'll talk to you later today. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? Still a lot of macro questions about this team, you think, but I don't have one. We have that guy. Best Knicks since Ewing. When will the league learn to respect? I'm not directing this at you, Kevin. I'm directing this to the universe. Who gives a shit? Really? Who cares? You know what I noticed? The athletic players poll. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I looked at the list of names and there were like 20 different players receiving votes for most overrated player in the league. And you know who didn't get a vote? Jalen Brunson. And last year, the NBA or NBA media, people who cover this team or cover this league intimately, because they don't give those votes to just anyone, voted Jalen Brunson 5th in MVP. Got 6 most votes for All-NBA. I trust he's going to make All-NBA again. So the people who matter, who watch the games and who participate in the games, people who coach the games, they all respect Jalen Brunson. If a bunch of idiots out there don't want to respect Jalen Brunson, you know what? You shouldn't give a shit, and I shouldn't give a shit. And you know why? Because Jalen Brunson doesn't give a shit. I promise you he doesn't. Thanks, Kev. Boxer Dad. What's going on, Boxer Dad? How you doing? Thank you for the contribution. Hey, John. Random thought I had. Was this season for Mikal worth 1 first-round pick? Might be a dumb way to think that, but I don't care. The Knicks won. Shout out KFS. Thanks for all you do. I mean, me and Benji were joking about it a little bit. That the postscript on that trade probably won't even be written this year. But let me tell you, this Detroit series factored in to assessing it. What he gave you in this series, all kidding aside, was it worth what you gave up for him? Probably in a vacuum, no. Could you at least look at what he gave you and kind of squint and zoom out a little bit and be like, oh, okay, I see it now. I get it. I get it. Still work to do, still further to go, still maybe some changes that need to be made. Was he used correctly this year? Is this the right coach for him? Is he supposed to be playing in a 1-5 pick and roll defense or a pick and roll defense with Cat? There's a lot of questions. I think he acclimated himself very nicely in this series. Thanks, Boxer Dad. I hurt your fifis. Super sticker. Thank you. Love me some stickers. Giovanni Mistretto. What's going on, Giovanni? I loved your negativity recently. We're at the point to expect more. This team can win the East. Appreciate all that you do for our fan base. Let's fucking go next. Giovanni, I went to a bad place after game. I went to a bad place after game 2. I went to a bad place after game 5. And you don't know the meaning of a bad place. But if to think about what I would have been if they had lost this game. Oh boy. I don't want to think about it. Thank you, Giovanni. CJ Cervantes, what's Becky Hammond saying now? Oh, God, that was so ridiculous. But again, it's like, it's silly. It's silly. Thank you, CJ. Kevin Danishevsky, how close is JB to the Hall of Fame? Oh man, I think it's a little bit premature to have that conversation just because he's like in the midst of his prime. The reason why those conversations are not, I'm not getting on you, but like if Jalen Brunson retires tomorrow, is he a Hall of Famer? No, he's not a Hall of Famer. But like, if he plays the next 5, 6, 7 years with a reasonable career progression and avoids injuries. What was this? It's annoying. This was only his second All-Star team, right? I think it was only his second because he didn't make it that first year. Yeah, no, he got freaking MVP votes, but he didn't make the All-Star team. Basketball Reference tells us that he has a 2% chance. Look, I think that's a little low. I think he's obviously his accolades this season are going to help him. The Clutch Player of the Year award is going to help him if he continues to, he's now at a stretch of his career where he has averaged over the last 3 years 26.4 points per game. If he holds that average or something around that average, or even if the points go down, but the assists go up and the team performs better, I guess the best way to answer your question is if the next 3 years go about as we expect it, so let's say 3 more All-Star teams, does he have to make 3 more All-NBA teams? Maybe, maybe not. Can he make a finals? I don't know, man. I think my gut tells me Jalen Brunson is absolutely going to be Hall of Famer. He has the disadvantage of the fact that he started out his career, as a, not in this sort of role. Gun to my head, does he make it? I'd bet on yes right now. Right now, I'd bet on yes. We'll see. Anthony Strano, what's going on, Anthony? JB's new name is Bitcherstaff. I thought you were going Jalen Brunson at first. Yes, JB Bitcherstaff. I love it. Thank you, Anthony. Charles Hochbaum. Best coaching, keeping Scaredy Cat on the bench. No, they need Cat. They need Cat to win the win, period. And they certainly need him to win the next series. I'll tell you that much. Thanks, Charles. Clyde Camp. What's going on, Clyde Camp? Shout out to Clyde. Maybe his last or probably his last postseason game that he called. Awesome stuff. Amazing career. We hope it's not over yet, obviously. In my darkest moments, I will pull up The Last Shot and all will once again be right. I've watched it on repeat since the game ended. I just watched the one video we had of it here, and it was pretty awesome. But yeah, put it under your pillow at night. Thanks, Clyde Camp. Rich McLeod, what's going on, Rich? Just when I thought I was out. Jalen mother freaking Brunson. Love you, John. I love you too, Rich. Thanks, man. You've been a good friend to Knicks Film School for a long time. Appreciate all of that, and appreciate the generosity here, man. Thank you. El Coriano 11. What's going on, El Coriano? The Knicks should have signed Fournier for this. But they have him, right? According to my newsletter last week, they already have him in Fournier. His name's Mikal Bridges. So it'll be fine. I tell you, Bridges did not have great games against Boston this year. So he's going to need to turn that around. Thanks, El Coriano. Alex with another one. Good thing Brunson hit that shot because I would have gone broke with super chats bitching about the refs. The Pistons were not playing basketball. F them. I agree. I don't have it in me to get crazy about refs ever, almost ever. I did not understand how they let the Pistons get away with what they got away with in this series. Although I will say I was rewatching the first half of Game 5, and there was a play in the first half. Mitch was in, Ron Holland was in, and I forget which Knicks shooter. It was like a real shooter, maybe Deuce, maybe. Oh, no, it was Bridges. It was Bridges on an above the break three, and I'm watching back, and Ron Holland doesn't even go out to contest Bridges above the break three attempt, and it missed, and whatever happened next. And I'm like, oh my God, he's stuck in the post and didn't even go out and contest a shot. I'm like, I didn't notice that in the moment. Are they intentionally leaving Mikal Bridges open on above the break threes part of their game plan? Oh my God, the disrespect at this point. And then I went back. I'm like, wait a minute. And I went back and rewatched it. Mitchell Robinson had Ron Holland's arm in an arm lock. And at one point, he was literally holding on to his wrist as Ron Holland was trying to go contest a shot. And the refs completely missed it. And it was so funny. That being said, I do think the Pistons got the benefit of the calls in the series, and it was a shitty job. So yeah. Thanks, Alex. Danny, what's going on? Danny Small, my man, who I've known a long time. Jalen Brunson, basketball player. Salute to KFS. Thank you. Salute to you. Red Sarachak, here we go. Imagine being the pool boy that gets Bickerstaff's drink order wrong. Unless you're going a different direction with the pool boy quote there. The Pistons close out games like my friend Drew. Droopy balls. Inside joke, I guess. Shut down 7th Avenue, J-Mac. Let them beat Boston. Let them beat Boston in the series, and then I'll be out there with all of you nut jobs on 7th Avenue, I promise. Thanks, Red. Alex with another one. I don't hear any Hero Ball complaints right now. Well, you haven't heard some of the super chats. But yeah. Sometimes the hero's got to do what a hero's got to do. Rich with another one. All that shit talking and fake tough guy stuff, all for Cancun. Good season by then. Tip your cap. Nice job, Pistons. You made it a series. You acclimated yourself to the postseason well. You got a superstar player on your hands. Now you go fuck off. Thanks, Rich. Angel Mercedes. 100 Gorillas versus Jalen Brunson. I got JB. Oh, man. I think I know that reference. I know there was something going on the internet the last few days about that. I can't say I watched the video on it, but I did get the reference. Thank you. Nigel Greaves. What's going on, Nigel? Finished my DVR delay about midnight and immediately bought Game 2 tickets. I live in Massachusetts. I sold my tickets on February 23rd and doubled my money. I knew they'd get blown out. Good job by you. Maybe I actually go to TD Stadium this time. Is that what it's called? TD Stadium? Okay. Andrew always yells at me. It's TD something. I don't know what it is. I already said I think they're going to win one of the first two games. I don't know what I'm basing that on, other than a gut feeling, but that's where I'm at. TD Bank Arena, Mark is informing me. Okay, here we go. Thanks, Nigel. Fred Katz. So hold on. You were texting me. What? How long ago did you send this in? I don't know. Either way, you need to get a life, Fred. This came in at 12:41. Oh my goodness. Well, Fred, I hope you're sleeping. I can't believe you're even alive, let alone still talking. I am. I'm glad for that. He's still showering. Oh, man. I really do love you, Fred. You're a good friend. Jeremy Goldstein, what's going on? Great seeing you throughout the year, Jeremy. May or may not have watched that shot from the back of the movie theater. Took every ounce of willpower not to scream. Let's go, Knicks. I'm assuming you were seeing Thunderbolts. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Jeremy. Kevin Levitt, what's going on, Kevin? I was ready to give up on this team in the fourth, and they proved me wrong. I apologize, and that is all. No need to apologize. Kev, I was right there with you, man. I was right there with you. We're still here. They brought us back. Brought us back from the edge. From the abyss. 20-2. That's some abyss for you right there. Thank you, Kevin. Ant Rich, what's going on, Ant? Thank you for the generous contribution, man. Forget Boston. Forget the struggle in this series. Tonight's about the win and Jalen Brunson's brilliance. We'll worry about the rest tomorrow. Amen to that. I'll toast to that. Thank you, Ant. Fred Katz with another one. John, you lecturing anyone about having no right to mouth off is some kind of irony. I've never mouthed off in my life, Fred. I don't know what you're talking about. And that is all I have to say about that. Alex with another one. My mourning over Deuce like Vito over Sonny in the funeral home. Look at how they massacred my boy. God, I hope he bounces back. He'll be fine. I don't know what's up with him right now. I don't know, honestly, at this point. Do I hope it is physical or do I hope it's not physical? Because if it's physical, it's like, oh, is there something like, is he going to require surgery in the off seasons or something we don't know about? But then on the other side, like if it isn't physical, then it's like, whoa. Look, there have been better players than Deuce. I don't mean this as a slight on Deuce, but there have been better players than Deuce that have gone through crises of confidence and like just a slump. He'll make it back at some point. I would like him to make it back to be Deuce again for this Boston series. That would be lovely. Thank you. Andy Sawicki. Who knew layup lines was all this team needed? Let's go, Knicks. Yeah. MVP Mikal Bridges, man. That's all it is. Give that man all his flowers. Kenneth Escalona. Jalen Brunson is the equalizer. You know what? That's a great freaking nickname. Captain Clutch is pretty good, but the equalizer might be better. He is. It's crazy. Guy's so good. But you know what? They've done I know this year hasn't been great. I think they've done a nice job building the roster around him. We'll see how the next few weeks go. Thanks, Kenneth. All right, we got one more here. This is for Brad Schenker. What's going on, Brad? It's been a tough year, but we went 2 decades without a moment like this. You can't take how blessed we are to have JB for granted. No, you can't. No, you can't. You know, I think tonight was really a perfect night, and Knick fans never disappoint me because I think we even as we have a lot of emotions swirling around and a lot of maybe conflicted feelings about the basketball team and what they represent and what they're capable of and their misgivings and whether the organization is doing everything possible to put them in the best possible chance to be successful, give them the best possible chance to be successful. Like there's so much going on with this team. Tonight showed one, an appreciation for greatness, which Knicks fans, and I would even go a step further and say New York fans in general, I think we do a great job of appreciating greatness. And I think that has to do with who we are, and whether you're a Knicks fan here in the city or in Timbuktu or in the North Pole. You know, if you're a Knicks fan, you got some New York in you. And I think you appreciate greatness. And there was an appreciation of greatness tonight, as there should have been. And the second part of it was there was an honesty about the series and about this team. And that's the other thing New Yorkers are. We're honest. We don't like smoke being blown up our ass, and we don't like blowing smoke up people's ass. We just kind of want to play it straight and call like it is. And wherever the chips fall, they fall. But, you know, it's been a frustrating team and it's been a frustrating year. And that's okay to acknowledge that. Doesn't, you know, you win a playoff series, it doesn't have to be all sunshine and rainbows. But to Brad's point, that's why I'm so happy we ended here. It has been a long time since we could celebrate something like this. A player like this, a moment like this. It is rare. It is really rare. You could tank for lottery picks. You could open up free agency cap space. You could accumulate assets for a trade. Doesn't matter. It's still rare. And it's fleeting. You know, Kevin asked the question before about Brunson's chances for the Hall of Fame. I hope he plays here another 10 years and makes 10 more All-NBA teams and wins 5 MVPs. But there's also a possibility it could all end at the drop of a hat. We just don't know. So when you get a moment like this and you get a night like this and you get a win like this, imperfections at all, you have to appreciate it. And you have to take a moment to say, you know what? We're pretty lucky to root for this guy. And yes, to root for this team. So I want to thank everybody tonight for sharing that love and appreciation with me. Oh, wait, no, hold on. We got one more. Andrew Claudio. Hell of a night. Salute to the captain, Marshall Macri, layup lines, and the KFS faithful. Thank you, Andrew. Especially the Marshall Macri part. Andrew Claudio with another one. On to Boston. As always, John. Hashtag Nixon 5. I don't think I'm going to be predicting Nixon 5, but we'll see. And then Andrew Claudio, which is currently plus 3,000 on Fanatic Sportsbook. That's the way to end it. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Fanatic Sportsbook. And if you are interested in betting Knicks in 5 at plus 3,000, make sure you go do that. And more than that, I in the newsletter today, shout out Knicks Film School newsletter. Even if you're not a full subscriber, even if you're a part-time subscriber, you know, you only, you know, get the free edition. You could still click on a link in today's newsletter to input your email and have a chance to win $100 in fan cash, which they're going to give away to somebody here in the Knicks Film School community. So go sign up and you might get $100 to spend on whatever stuff you want, like the shirt that I have been wearing throughout this whole post game, which I really like. It has all the different Knicks symbols and it's pretty cool and sleek. So shout out to them. And shout out to everybody for checking out another episode of the Knicks Film School Postgame Show. It's been a pleasure being with you tonight. Thank you all the super chatters for the generosity. Thanks everybody for watching. If you dig what we do here, help us continue to grow and reach more Knicks fans all around the world. You could do that by subscribing to the channel. You could do that by liking this video. You could do that. You want to go the extra mile. You want to embody Jalen Brunson and go the extra mile. Take a second, leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. Drop a 5-star rating. Those things really do help us get noticed and go a long way in helping make sure that we can continue to do the work that we do here. So thanks to everybody. Thank you to Mark for producing tonight. Thanks for Andrew and Jeff and Benji for hopping on. Thanks to the entire Knicks Film School team. We, of course, have a lot more to go for the series against Boston. We will have you all prepped up and ready for that before game 1. I promise you that. And until next time, take care.